Okay, good morning, friends. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, today was supposed to be foreign, but she might have lost power from a storm a couple weeks ago. We haven't, I don't think we've heard back from her, so I'm just kind of a last minute fill in. We do have a couple of active snapshot proposals. We'll put the first one up. This one is for AGIP 157, reducing wallet fragmentation for better DAO operations. I'm just going over to the prop. This one currently is at 97% in favor of yes, consolidate, with 2.69% voting for no. Quorum's at 61% with the yes option with 4.3 million votes, no option with 118,000 votes. You do have 15 days remaining, February 22nd, 2026, to vote on this, friends. So this is the core prop. We're trying to reduce our wallet fragmentation. Try to get out there and vote. We still need 39% to reach quorum. I'll drop the Discord link to the discussion. Not really an active discussion at this point, but if you want to jump in, you can do that here. Next one we have is the Gotchi Greeters budget. I'm just going to copy a link real quick. There we go. The Gotchi Greeters budget is this one's a sick prop. Currently, prevailing thought is to not fund the Gotchi Greeters. This is 2.6 million votes against this prop with 720,000 votes for the funding of this prop, 78% for no, 22% for yes. Quorum's currently sitting at 45.4%. This prop is live for almost another month. So it went live on the 4th of this month and it will be ending on March 4th. So definitely jump in there and drop a vote. I will drop the link to the Discord if you have any further comments or suggestions for the team, just in case they do decide to bring back another vote. There we go. Let's see, there's another snapshot vote. We have clarifying the intended eligibility of the Gotchi Battler portion of AGIP 155. Let me just copy this. There we go. Oh, there we go. Let's go back to that. So for this prop, we currently have the voting power at 2 million in favor of a battler defined eligibility. Two 271,000 votes to abstain. That represents 11% of the vote versus the 84.32% in favor. And then 101,000 votes, or 4.26% of the vote, voting for eligible wallets only. There is an ongoing discussion here in the Discord. Here's the link to it. Yeah, for this one, basically, well, actually, there's no other core props outside of that core or SIG props. We do have a couple of conversations that we can have. I don't know if Nestor is available. I saw that you mentioned that you had speakers now, so it should be better for you to jump up on mic. We did have a few conversations that we can have regarding the nomination and election of multi-sig signers, as well as the budget information. You had put out a where is that conversation? I had it written down. Specifically, the conversation about a budget for the DAO. We also have the conversation that Crazy Crypto brought up, the SIG prop preparation, DAO distribution cohort 2, governance alignment and sustainable value creation that can be brought up. We're getting Nestor up here right now, so give me a second. I'll drop links to the other subjects. Nestor, good morning or afternoon. Nestor, are you there? Let's give him a second. Sorry, friends. Just bear with us. Nestor's typing. It says access denied. Maybe try jumping off the stage and then back up. Give him a minute as he rotates around. Well, I guess while we wait for Nestor, we can kind of go over what the nomination and election of the multi-sig signer discussion kind of has entailed so far. The goal is to create, a transparent DAO-led process to nominate and elect our multi-sig signers. Signers are security critical and key to future on-chain governance. There's going to be three phases in this conversation over the next 3 weeks that started roughly a week ago, which would be the nomination, the SIG prop, and then eventually the core prop. Standard snapshot voting is the goal here. And yeah, we're going to hopefully define some requirements for what the signers should be doing, as well as the compensation accountability. And then, when approved, we will host the election, get these people in, and kind of move forward with that. So there was some parts of the discussion I saw personally about performative, like the performative nature of the signing. And there's been conversations in the past about being careful not to put in requirements that are like aimed at speed, because we run the risk of then potentially signing off on something that could be a mistake. And I use the example of Choina. If I didn't jump in the conversation, but the first person that popped into my mind was Choina, because Choina generally Maxi Crouton executes a lot of the transactions. We all can do it, but he tends to do most of it because he's the treasurer. And Choina's always was always a hawk in making sure that we dotted all our T's and I's. We all did, but he was always the one that came to my mind, where he would be the one to say, "Hey, this address, where can we find this? How can we verify this?" And it's just emblematic of what we should do as signers in terms of making sure that everything is absolutely correct and perfect before we sign off. So I think that we didn't really mention it in the last part of the call, right before we switched to the DAO section, but currently we're kind of sitting at 7 of 9 active, or 7 of 9 signers, with maybe 6 of us active. It kind of ranges between 6 and 7. So yeah, Kokushu, yeah, it was so helpful to have him there. So I've mentioned this in December, that we were at the situation where we need to add a couple more signers, like almost pretty soon, because it's going to be hard to execute things in a timely fashion, because it just takes now 1 or 2 of us not to be around for transactions not to be signed. So with this nomination process, hopefully we can define the number of people we want to have on the multi-sig, as well as, like, the actions there. I think yeah, especially transactions that expire, such as swaps, that I think we have roughly 12 hours that we have to the from the swap initiation to actually get it done. So there's currently, if you're in here, there's currently a transaction, 2 transactions, if I'm not mistaken, pending for the directors. I signed it just a few minutes ago. Actually, they've been signed and executed, at least one. Um, yeah, with some of these swaps, they have to be done timely. So in a if we only have 6 active signers, we're really at the cusp of, like, difficulty here. With a full 9, we can move a little quicker. Um, so the performative nature, I think there is a level of, we discussed this as a DAO before, being able to look at, I don't want to say a quota, but like metrics of how each person is signing, to see, are people just inactive? They're not available to sign. There is going to be a level of, like, we only need 5 people to sign. So we don't want to incentivize people rushing to sign so that they meet their quota, because that could lead to mistakes. Nestor is back now. Let's see if he's actually here working. How you doing, sir? Nestor. You might have to reboot again. Yeah, Face saying new KYC. Everyone gives me their phone numbers, and I spam call you till you sign. Yeah, different time zones though, so that might be that would be annoying if you're calling me at 4 because a lot of times Maxi Crouton's in Europe, right? So he's putting out stuff that I see at when I wake up at 6 in the morning. That's been live for a few hours already. Discord is being a bee today. Needed 30 minutes to get my audio working, Mr. Snitzel Def. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do because pretty much the core of the conversation today should be about the both the multi-sig signers as well as the discussion, which seems very early for not early but early on in the discussion for Aavegotchi DAO projected 2026 budget, what that would entail beyond our annual cost. There is a document associated with that. Let me see if I can get it on my other computer. Where is it? Also, there was a should we buy more ETH conversation, but no one chimed in on that essentially. So I figured there wasn't much appetite for that. Okay, so there's a sheet here from Nestor regarding our budget. Let's see, reject this. Okay. Oh, it's actually not. It's just a. Is it just a empty template? I think this is just an empty template. Make sure I didn't log into the wrong thing. Oh yeah, it's just a template. So yeah, the call to action here is to post the budget 2026 table in this template that he has there. Design contest, make a template, receive most emojis, and win real estate in the Gotchi verse, a small parcel. Um, for here, the goal is accounting for foundation salaries, projects, preparation for proposal resolution, and as part of the standardization initiative, keyword functions, attributes, restructuring, standardization, assets and liabilities documentation, sources or sauces as it's written, and then we have a list of some wallets there. So, Nestor, you're unmuted. How are you? Okay, I guess Nestor, if you cannot jump into the Discord to speak, we could read your text messages. If you can drop them into the chat, that would be helpful. Oh, we lost Nestor. Yeah. Also, there's a bit of discussion about the Howdy thing. Check that out. Zebot has a post about it. Troy is saying, I remember suggesting an allocated twice weekly check-in slot at times that would consider signers time zone. With 9 signers, that would at least cover transactions being addressed within a few days, covered by one of those two groups, and would also expose those who aren't at least checking in twice a week. Yeah, I think it would be reasonable for the signers to, because currently we have one check-in, which is right now. Generally, we all try to execute whatever transactions is the time that most of us are around. But even right now, I think 3 or 4 of us are here, but not the full 5 to 7. A second time, maybe midweek, would make perfect sense for just a quick like, hey, what do we have to focus on in the coming week? We do. I'm trying to think of our ongoing transactions. They all tend to be monthly, from my understanding, which would be the just the facilitators pay. I don't. We're not. I don't think we have anything else that is on a regular basis. The market maker stuff is ongoing now. Um, I think currently we are doing some transactions for the swap, and then I don't know if it's to actually transfer the money. Let me look at the specifics. Let's go over here. Yeah, because we had an initiated swap on the 4th to swap 100K of USDT, 12-hour expiration. Eventually, it was that expired, and then that's when we also had what's it called, the delisting. So there's some confusion on what, like, there's a discussion about whether that liquidity should be going towards OKX. I saw some people advocating for it to go to Kraken. Not really sure what the best thing to do in that situation would be. Also, I think Nestor's completely gone from the Discord call. So yeah, and Troy is saying by check-in, I meant actually checking in with the group during your allocated slots. Solves Maxi having to ask if someone is actually still a signer. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because currently we are with this nomination and election. If the props pass, we should be on, in a timely manner by the end of the term, which is the end of this month. So we have 21 days remaining in this term. Ideally, we can have whoever's going to be in place to either step in, or the people who continue on that decide to nominate themselves to be elected for that group of 9 to at least be on the multi-sig. Now I don't know, and this would be a good question for Nestor, if because we kind of faced this issue last year where the election was finished but we couldn't onboard the new signers until the KYC was done. So I'm not sure if we feel differently now with the state of the DAO and like kind of what we perceive as our legal you know threat or liability here, but also the fact that like there is an argument that maybe KYC is not as like super necessary at a high degree for just the multi-sig signers. So there could be a world where we onboard the multi-sig signers to the multi-sig and then KYC them. Last year we didn't. We I don't think we onboarded anybody until the KYC was done, if I remember correctly. So that's something to consider as well. Yeah, I guess while we wait for see if Nestor comes back, we did have the discussion about the SIG prop preparation, DAO distribution cohort, governance alignment, and sustainable value creation. There's been some back and forth about this. There's really strong resistance to a further treasury distribution. For a preference of sustainability, partition based participation based rewards, and governance refinements over new payouts. So we do have the prop up for the eligibility of the Gotchi Badler tournaments for the 74 ETH, which is relevant now. If you haven't voted, you should vote on that. But I see Crazy Crypto in the audience. Do you want to come up and kind of discuss the SIG prop preparation process if you actually plan on bringing the SIG prop up for a vote after gaining feedback from the DAO? You don't. You also don't have to come up. No pressure. You can just drop it into the chat and we'll read it. Here we go. Crazy Crypto. 1 second. Good morning.
Hello. Can you hear me? Is it good?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, perfect. Better than last time. Yeah, I had some appointments, so sorry to joining today a bit later. And you were asking a question, right? For which SIG prop? You mean mine, which I started like the discussion 1 or 2 weeks ago, or for the 74 ETH? What was the question? Because I just joined like
For your
recently.
SIG prop. Yeah, your SIG prop. Just asking if at this point, do you plan on bringing it forward? Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, so in general, I was just reading all the threads over the last weeks and months and what was happening. And I was just putting all together in this thread in the DAO. And my hope is that more people participate, because I got feedback already from the Gotchi Bettler team. So I hope I pronounced it right. Immaterial was also writing something valuable, that he said, if you exclude cohort 1, it's not good, because why should the people exclude themselves from further distributions? And I was thinking, okay, we must come to like a consent, and that we going forward, sorry, are having more SIG props which are making sense, and that not the money is going out of the DAO, and that we're having a professional, respectful communication going forward. And yeah, I just wait for more feedback because very less people joined this thread in the DAO sub channel. So SIG prop preparation for Core 2 is the name. And we can also link it again here in the chat. And I was just waiting because there is no rush, right? More and more people are coming back to this Discord, recognizing maybe that they were excluded or forgot to do something what was necessary to be eligible and have their own opinion. And going forward, it's also very important way for the DAO, right? For the next distribution. And there are some SIG props already going on. And I think it's a very good discussion. And I also want to make clear, I don't want to attack someone personal. So also, if Mr. Sepp is taking it personal, this was not meant. It was completely on a business relationship when I said that I was a bit frustrated to read, hey, 100K are asked now from the DAO again for traveling, lodging, food and beverage for events, because my background is original banker, but I also did 15 years events. So myself organized, I don't know if you know it, this Holy Festival. We and my company brought this to Europe, and we had the IP and sold it then to a German company, Pro7 And my background is the whole life, event management, building companies and being a banker and looking at the numbers. So I only take it completely professional. And I know what it means to having fun, right? My own was having some discotheques in Germany. So I love to have fun and have fun a lot with people. So if you would travel with me, you would see this, and New Futuristic knows about it. So in general, I just want to prevent that the money is going away out of the DAO, and that we are discussing more about measurable KPIs. And this was just my
Ich glaube, das,
feedback. And just that you all know this here, because I don't want to come Saturdays to just criticize, to just say something with critique. I just want to see, okay, how can it go forward, and how the
that's good.
people which were not eligible are getting something. Yeah, I hear Nestor as well.
Yeah, I
Hello.
can hear him too.
Do you hear me now?
Good morning.
Good
Yes,
morning.
welcome.
I had major difficulties here. I think all the AIs on my system. Yeah, I let them free roam now. I finally capitulated, and they can do not yet everything they want, but well, yeah. I think that was a result, but no excuse. I'm very sorry. Should have been prepared better. So hello, also to you, Dennis. Hi, and yeah, how
Hey,
do you do?
cool. Yeah. Today, at least my I hope you don't hear my son in the background is a bit screaming. So my wife is taking care. But
Um,
at least I wanted to come a bit and talk. I missed the last hour, but I will definitely listen to the records. And No
me too, me
Futuristic
too,
just
me too.
must
Mhm.
ask me, hey, if I want to talk about the SIG prop preparation of Core 2. And I just said, hey, let's look forward. Let's make props. Which makes sense for the
Indeed.
DAO, and talk about revenue. How can the DAO make revenue? How Pixelcraft can revenue? Who's
Yeah, what
doing the
about
marketing,
sorry,
and
sorry.
so on.
What about the staking? Then let us take that up again. I saw you can stake 1,000 ghosts now at dungeons, and I think that's a good thing because now it's not the same like a week ago. And staking, I heard something about, I read something about the hungry ghosts among the seven uh, platforms I'm building now with one hungry ghost. I find it fascinating. If you haven't read it, it's really, really fascinating stuff. And well, also our diamond, that is also something very, very special. And just, yeah, educating myself and looking how the code runs past my eyes. And I think staking is the solution now. We have to take the ghost from the market as much as possible. And on the other side, we have the market maker now. Um, there's nothing special happening there. They are delivering their liquidity. And the last thing I heard was um, that someone spoke for rather Kraken than OKEX. So would be my question.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Myself talked about Kraken, but this is more about providing liquidity, because the problem is myself and a lot of Germans are on Kraken, because it's
Mhm.
regulated, and it was in 2017 one of the first opportunities to come into crypto for the masses, and a lot of German people use it. And I just want to invest like 1,000 USD. USD, because USDC pair is not existing on Kraken, unfortunately. And then I saw it's like roulette. You just type in 1,000 and you see, and I posted a video in the ETH distribution thread. What was going on?
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? You got like between 7,000 and 12, and imagine I want to invest 10,000 USDT, which is also a good amount to bring more weight. So 50,000, it's not possible on Kraken and other exchanges. And
It's not.
OKX is
It's
more
not.
this Asian
Mhm.
Asian
No, no.
arm, right? So we should maybe let them know to give to all listings where money is at the moment, where
Mhm.
Ghost is supported,
Exactly.
liquidity.
Yes, yes. They want now a closer, or let's say more often talk to us. I talked to Justin before the day before yesterday, and well, they now are asking themselves where is the best opportunity, and well, I will let them know. They just said this until now the second biggest was OKEX, so they had to reduce their positions there, um, because they hedged their positions on Binance. So now that isn't anymore. They are hedging, so to speak, on the like on Aerodrome and on the Dexes. But after that, and we we have now delivered another portion to them. It's on the way. Um, so I will let them know. I will just contact them right after our call and ask Justin directly. They're very accessible, I have to say, very accessible, and also very active globally, as it seems. Always at the start of new exchanges, as it seems. They asked me not to tell and so on, but they are from Holland, and there are popping up exchanges everywhere, and they are always right there in the talks, and told me, yeah, they will let us know if there is some opportunity. Yeah, but Kraken, as you say, Kraken, I like it. So the GUI, yeah, is fine. So mhm, I will talk about them.
Dragon was just an example. You can also say BitGet, because as some ask you in the chat, I also want to clarify. So myself founded a company called CryptoTicker, let's say 10 years ago, when crypto was
Yeah.
very small. And I supported like Koda, Dan, and Jesse and the project Aavegotchi since 7, 8 years, just for free, when we published always like press releases on the platform, because it came up also with the discussion of Mr. Sepp. And you can imagine myself as having contact to all international exchanges. So name them all. I have the person to talk to. Why? Because the exchange is
Fine.
coming to our platform and asking, hey, Dennis, can you list us? So I can talk to BitGet, I can talk to Bitmart, I can talk to every exchange you want to have.
Connect
I
them.
know them because they are making promotions on CryptoTicker, and CryptoTicker is more like a Check 24 of the crypto world. So
Mhm,
let's say
mhm,
all the exchanges are listed on our platform, we review them, they get like an exposure, and we are converting
yeah,
new traders and clients into active traders. That's what CryptoTicker is doing, and that's
mhm,
why I just wanted to tell you every important company of the industry I know personally. So because I do it
okay.
since 8 to 10 years, just that everyone knows that exchanges, if you need like a new listing or want to talk about campaigns on listings or anything else,
Well,
I can just make it happen with some intros. Yeah.
oh, sounds very good. So yeah, if there's someone at Kraken, who would know, you would know, it. So that would be something. And yeah, Coinbase is the second thing they want. In any case, to put something on Coinbase, just because of, yeah, it's also the American market, right? So that's what they are eyeing. But as I said, they are very approachable. So that would be one thing. Then the next thing, like revenue. What is revenue? I think we have to also have, what is the thought behind the budget. I think I also trying to rebuild the treasury dashboard, and I think a real time, or let's say with a few minutes delay, clock of, if it even is only a few cents, or ghost, or it's something very different than having to guess like it is very often. And I know it's difficult because we had many accounts. Therefore, the initiative by Maxi Crouton, our treasurer, was really good to simplify that and just take off the cognitive load and just unify it, and so we can all watch one thing and make the also the bookkeeping and accounting uh, easier. And I am also talking to our corporate secretary every 2 weeks or so. I am getting on his nerves that he shall send us finally the books for 2024 and 2025. But he says, yes, that takes time. That takes time. It's a lot of numbers and stuff. Okay, but I pressure him, and yeah, that's what's the state. But in such a budget, I think, yeah, then we can work with. Then we can easily also work and budget proposals. I also would like to unify that, like with one, UI, where we all can, so to speak, have one format. Yeah, one format. So if you offer something, and you want something, then you can there put it side by side. Like it's everywhere. Anywhere you go, if it's a grant or a credit or a loan, like I now have underwritten the contract, you have to have a form, and that forms should be on chain, of course, yeah, as quick as possible. That's also our aim, and I think that will also streamline things. But if anybody has a question for you concretely, or any idea, I did miss today some of the talk, so sorry.
It's for me also very hard because I have to listen 1 hour later of this talk. But when you talk about revenue, I think it's just at the moment we're having some proposals which are mainly for awareness and branding. But yeah, we should just at the moment focus on something which really generates revenue. And to be honest, I don't know what the issue at the moment is, because we saw a lot of discussions in the threads about kinship. We saw about Horn 3. We saw about what we can make in the future with lands. Why we are not focusing also on the course where everything started, and that we're finding a solution with like an H3, so Horn 3. And as I tried to also describe in my SIGPROP cohort preparation, which was linked here again in the thread chat, that we're talking, okay, what's possible, that you can burn old lands, that you can burn old gotchis to get like a higher opportunity to get like a good H3. So this generates like trading and opportunity and brand awareness. I don't know if the problem is at the moment that we are having lack of programmers, but I would bet that Coda Dan and Jesse and the support of freelancers can easily do it. So I maybe misunderstood why this was never
Everyone
discussed
can do it. I
at
tell you,
all.
everyone can do it. If I can do it, I tell you, if I can show that I can do it, then anybody can do it. Because I never was a coder. I'm, yeah,
But
rather
is there an answer why we never discussed really about an opportunity about bringing this to the topic, because everyone would generate money, fun comes back and so on. Be just like not the games at all, but that Aavegotchi is back on the table. Everyone is seeing there's a new horn. We're sending out a email newsletter. People are coming back. I just try to understand why this never was discussed, and everything else can be included
Oh,
with a change in the future.
well, there was the thing with the variables, wasn't it? That the variables, that the DAO decided some, I don't know, 4 or even 4.5 years ago, that you would have been also one of the voters back then, that there shall be no more variables. And yeah, I
Especially,
think
this
that
makes
was
sense. You
AG.
should only have a new horn if you burn something. We should not say we are making an inflation like America and other countries. We just have to say if there's a new horn, it must be that something must be burnt to participate, or you
Yes,
get like
but
raffle tickets to get something out of a draw when you burn something. And if you burn more, you have a higher chance or something like this.
yeah, like Forge for Gotchis, like yeah. Um, yes, you have to, of course, to model it. Okay, you have to model it. You have to make some calculations. You cannot just make it out of the blue. Worst case would be that we burn some, we buy some, and well, it turns around, of course. But it's something so special. If you remember opening a Hound 1 portal or even the Hound 2 portal, I just loved it. Go through the 1 to 10. I celebrated it, and it's like a hound. That's something special. So it should be rather, I would say, not no, but it should be the grand finale of like like a climax. And yeah, right at the moment we are rather at an anticlimax. So yeah, maybe a year from now or something like that. Yeah. I would say that's my thing. But until then, as you say, many small pieces, if they come together, like hackathons, like small games, why don't we make 1,000 shitty little games and a few of them, as it always is? If you produce thousands of something, and one or two or three are exceptional.
Yeah, in the end, you have two sections. You have the section in the company, let's say within Pixelcraft, which are for games, but you have also the other section, which is the core, where it came from, which is the NFTs, the wearables, the fake gotchis, everything, the exploration, the gamification aspect, and so on. Because you have gamers, and I was talking to my brother because he's a very active gamer and all these games, and he said, yeah, he's a gamer because in the gaming industry, you don't like to invest money because gaming should be for everyone. It's like a philosophy question, and you should not buy with money a better position and so on. And this is why a lot of gamers are stepping away from crypto. But I think that crypto people love to play, but they must have rewards. Otherwise, they would not play because they just do it for
Incentive.
competition, for leaderboards, for getting money. So we have two different audiences. But I wanted to say the audience one for the section of gamification, of wearables, of Haunt 1, 2, 3 lands is completely different as the gamers. But we should not forget about where Aavegotchi comes from. And I don't know if there was an old SIG prop for bidding to make a new Haunt 3. But if some people, we just
no,
open a new
never.
thread in the DAO and call it Haunt thread, and everyone can participate to discuss like a Haunt 3 thread. Why not? I mean, we can make a new SIG prop to change it if it was decided in the past not to do it.
Yeah, exactly, and that would be something I'm very I seldomly saw that much activity like now, and as you say, that will be more, and that will be back to the roots. That will be the governance, and just to the games. I don't know if you remember, there was one at the first game jam, I think it was called. There were like 5 games. They were also featured on the website on the side, and one was where the balls like jumped up and down, and it became more balls all the while, and they jumped very unpredictably or somewhat predictably. And yes, that was for me, it was the best game. Sorry, yeah, like I grew up with this kind of games, and well, I will try. Maybe someone I will find the screenshots, but I will try to rebuild it, or maybe there is the code still somewhere on GitHub, so clone it. Um, you know, that was really fun. It can be a game like a Commodore game. Just yesterday, I showed my son what Commodore was like, and it was fun. We spent whole days looking at how many pixels? 8? Not even 16.
The good old
Yeah,
times, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important also in this year and the next year, because the market is unpredictable, to decide what the DAO should do in the future, the responsibilities, and what Pixelcraft is doing. Because I recognize when Mr. Sepp criticized that I have not the total overview. And imagine I try to participate now since 5 weeks every call. And if I have not the total overview, how should people have it, which left the project some months or years ago and come back now? So this is like also a general roadmap or general page maybe we are doing. Hey, that's the DAO. These are the responsibilities. That's the working groups within the DAO, and that's Pixelcraft, and that's Pixelcraft doing. Because this
Yes.
is something we can also map online in an organigram or something. Just
Mhm.
this is also what I want to mention, because for me,
Yeah.
if this comes back to my table that I don't understand it, and I would call myself normally a smart guy, I ask
Yeah.
myself what others are thinking about, because this makes it easier to make discussions. Okay, is it something we should discuss directly with Pixelcraft and they invest their budgets, or is it something we have to
Nope.
do a SIG prop? Because
Yes.
sometimes it's starting there that we don't know.
Mm.
Is it necessary to do a SIG prop and afterwards an A chip, or is it something that you can
Look,
directly go to Coda Dan and Jesse to talk
yeah.
to them if they are distributing a little bit of their budgets to this because it's valuable?
Well, that's up to them, you know. But it is as I see it, you know. If you have like a gradient, the gradient is clearly going and continuously going to its designated finish line, and it's a bit slower than expected, but it's nonetheless a gradient that is very clear, and that's more and more a separation, more and more. I described it for a grant for us like that the custodianship of the developer is waning, so to speak, and with all that what that goes with it, you know. And that would be also something like asking for money or wanting to discuss on like on at some point we are like on the same terms, like we say in German, you know, auf Augenhöhe, on the same height. We look each other into the eyes as equals, and then we make a business deal, and that's it. But until then, it's not. We are not there yet. Yeah, we have to be also realistic, but we have also all followed this gradient. You know, that's like. That's the law we put into the system, into the protocol from the beginning, which is also stated, and of course, yeah, it's a completely novel concept, and it's also for me very, you know, anti-intuitive, but I also have to remind me, yeah, that this is something, an experiment, and as such, but as we know, just with experiments, it's absolutely important to follow certain ground rules.
Yeah, it was just a feedback to different things here we discussed the last week, I think, because for me, just reading the threads, I wanted to say, because I saw Mr. Sepp is here, I really apologize if I hurt you on any level, because this was not my intent, because I saw that you were very energetic and emotional afterwards. Also, when I made my thread, this is the first thing. The second thing is, yeah, I would love to have like an organigram to see that's a DAO responsibilities. This is at the moment worked on the DAO. These are current SIG props. This is Pixelcraft. This is what they are doing. And to have this, the third thing is that we are discussing maybe in the future which events make sense. So for example, some gaming events like the Gamescom in Cologne in Germany is something which is always very valuable. And that we then say, okay, does it make sense to go more for the games, for having a booth there, a startup booth, and presenting like the games which maybe are then existing, or this which are available on Steam that people can directly get like a flyer or an invitation to download this on Steam and so on. But yeah, and then the biggest topic is revenue, how the DAO Pixelcraft can generate revenue, and this is what I said we should discuss about Horn 3 again. And the last thing is about liquidity, because liquidity, as you saw on Kraken, on BitGet, on every exchange where you see it at the moment where the ghost pair is listed, there should be a bit of a liquidity, because this can lead then also to new buy-ins. So every part we should not exclude. So we should definitely give something. BitGet, Kraken, as you said, OKX, the big ones that we're not going away there. And I think the rest will then come. And then, yeah, and then in the end, there will be a question, okay, what's the vision of Coda Dan and Jesse? Do they want to work with some game studios, accelerator programs? Do they want to get some VC money, some business angel money? Do they, is there a buyback idea of Ghost and stake it, and so on? So much questions. But yeah, this is then just how to make business going forward. And this is just my conclusion today with some closing words. And sorry, it was today a bit mixed, but yeah, this is in fact of my limited time.
Yeah, thank you too for the patience. I'm just just in talk with the with our multi-sig signers, because yeah, they are very flexible. Our market maker, and for example, yeah, where they want the funds to go, if now to base or to mainnet. So I will contact them right away, like now, asking them if they still want the next portion on base, and I'll just type into the Telegram some words, and that's mainly that from me. Didn't we cover? Did we cover everything today? Unfortunately, yeah. The prop. Well, I would say everything should be underlined with some numbers. Doesn't matter which prop. So some props are ostensibly clear. But with other proposals, it is much more difficult to assess how much it is worth. But why not speculate? It's better than having nothing. And it's a numbers game too. So yeah, that's and always maybe like two alternatives. I'm not sure how much it is worth. Maybe you saw the discussion. What is the most important thing about signers? It's a very very interesting topic that I just loaded up material in, and will have to read it, or let having read it, and well, MakerDAO, Aavegotchi all have different concepts how they are conducting their signing. Um, at some DAOs, it is very very like the signers are only like ceremonial, a ceremonial position. It is in effect on chain, yeah, but with a last human step. Others, well, have a like a gremium, like a highest Soviet, where there is deliberation about is this something good, is this something not so good. Then you have the systems with a veto, where it has several iterations, past iterations, until it gets signed or not signed. So there are many concepts, and the same goes. What is something really worth? We should talk about it. Yeah, we should talk about it. And we saw that in the thread about this the greeters. I'm absolutely. If you maybe you catch a whale, and then there's no talk about well, it cost now 100,000, 200,000, doesn't matter. Yeah, if you find some investor who is willing. My idea would be also maybe to go think about how to go in the non like we have the word Stiftung, yeah, like non-profit, yeah, maybe grants, yeah. There are also grants that doesn't necessarily have to go to non-profits, but also they grant profits. There was some alchemy grant. I applied for that, and I'm pretty sure there are many more out there. I think. Well, isn't it that there's a lot of liquidity, so much in this regard. So I have to right now. Are you still there? No future.
Yeah, as near
Yeah, I'm
future.
still here.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
yeah, just
Oh,
waiting for
you,
you
you too.
to.
Oh, you too.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we should talk about like the nomination for the multi-sig signers. We did get two questions here that I
Yes.
think are pertinent. One,
Mm,
will there be more delistings? Usually, some exchanges follow each other. And then a second
mm,
question from Phase: what
mhm,
happens with the DAO in the event that Ghost goes to zero?
mhm. Well, to zero. What would have to happen? It
Yeah,
going
so
to
for
zero.
me, from my perspective, the token value,
Yeah.
the price of it doesn't matter, like because the
Yeah.
token is a governance token, so it'll
Yeah.
be easier for
Right.
you to
Correct.
accumulate more voting power. But the idea
Yes.
is, at the end of the day, the DAO will eventually, it might eventually become the custodian of the smart contracts,
Yes.
the IP. So
Mhm,
none of that changes, except that, like, you know, as the token price goes down, we should think about the value of our treasury that's remaining, and
mhm,
potential exploits that could happen, like via someone, a 51% attack or something like that. The question is,
mhm,
will
mhm.
anybody realistically do that? I don't know. So I don't think anything fundamentally changes. What will change is whether people will participate in the DAO or not. But I
Yeah.
think that's up to each individual.
That's mhm, absolutely. And of all those who are still here, who care, like Kodadan said, it is mostly. Yeah, if it one day should be 100 people willing to speak all the time, then we will have to think about other forms of organizations, like committees and something like that, and then special groups. This would be something wonderful. Until then, it gets mentioned always. I think we should before we you know draw the devil on the wall, as we say in German. That brings the devil about, we should talk about what is possible. Everything is now possible, yeah, because we don't, what have you to lose? It's not regarding the price, I mean, yeah. So we should maybe see it as something freeing, and in this sense, we could talk about delegation, for example. That is something that is also a part of governance in many DAOs. And we had I don't know how it was for you back then. It wasn't really a delegation with the, how was it called? The vault, right? It was a form of delegation, of course, but delegation can have many different expressions, like specialists. Yeah, you have specialists. This is the specialist for, I don't know, staking. This is the specialist for governance. This is the specialist for technical stuff. And I delegate all that is regarding. We designate. Okay, this is now a prop about technique and finance. Okay, so I give my vote regarding that to to this delegate, and that would be a possibility. And the delegates uh, among each other would also have like a, not, they would be, yeah, it would be like a little spectacle. They would have, but they would have to bring arguments. They would have to explain their positions. Would have to be trustworthy and listen to worthy, to keep their delegate positions. So it's like a competition, yeah. And I think when you have competition, eh, eh, like we talk about the games with the incentives, when you have some competition, that is something that people like to watch, to hear. That is something worth, because you hear, you learn, and that's the real value, of a community.
Nestor, short thing on this. I think the question is more, is there a price level of the Ghost token where it makes sense to renew the stake and chill proposal Koda then brought up when the discussion of the partial treasury distribution was, when he said, let's distribute the money into GHO. With this money, we could generate 280,000 a year, just passive for the DAO, which was like a good proposal, but it was not followed. To be honest, I don't know why. And in the end, it's the same. There's still money. And if it's going down, is there a price level that this should be renewed to just stake it? And maybe it make it more flexible. And Flame, a community DAO member, said, let's not have a 2 years a stake, but let's do something. And this is the point A.
Yeah.
So we should discuss, okay, when, at which level of prices this should renew, that the stable coins are not going away, or change it into something different. And the second thing is, when you and me had our telephone call, I remember we talked about the foundation of on the Caymans, and when you also answered in a thread that you answered Binance about the Ghost token and about the beneficials and the owners and who's the company behind the Ghost token, because all the exchanges, it's called anti-money laundering,
Yes, of course.
KYB, your business, this is in Europe and everywhere in the world necessary for Mika and all the other things. You sent them, this is how I understood
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
legal documents from the
Mhm.
DAO in the Caymans. So this is what you said,
Uh,
right? But
um,
I was asking myself,
mhm,
when we're talking about the Ghost token, the
mhm,
documents should be sent from the Singaporean company, from Pixelcraft, because originally this was, the Ghost token was created by them. And when someone is asking about who are the founders, who created the Ghost token, the beneficial owners, the answer
yeah.
is Pixelcraft. So I try to understand
Okay.
who is
Okay.
actually the right
Okay.
entity when you're talking to exchanges to prevent a delisting. It's an honest
Uh,
question. I just want
uh,
to ask it
well,
openly.
yeah. But for me, it's still an ongoing matter of research, because it didn't matter what documents I was sending and what declarations and own findings I would provide. It still came back. It still came back. It still comes back. I'm still trying. Um, this question is, I found it very, yeah, like I get that you say it was in Singapore. It is the firm that it's the developer, but it's not correct. If you look at the Genesis block, that shortly after the Genesis block, you had the first owners, so to speak, and you could also argue, I would argue, that the vote before that on Aragon was I would say everybody was the founder, everybody who was there and was willing to invest money. it's like a it's like this new form that is all that was, in for before, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, crowdfunding, that was the big super term, and that was exactly that. It was a crowdfunded project, and who is the owner, you know
But the question is,
I
how,
get you.
how, how
Yeah.
are the founders seeing it? Because the original idea and everything which was built came from Koda and Jesse. How they are seeing it? So if let's say OKX
um,
or Kraken or BitGet is now contacting Aavegotchi. So and these are like general questions. Imagine you're communicating and you
yes.
have to communicate with an email which is called nestor@aavegotchi.com or
Mhm,
nestor@pixelcraft. You
mhm,
cannot answer
mhm.
Kraken from nestor at
Well,
Proton mail or
well,
Gmail or
oh,
you know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
no,
This is
no.
like
No,
general questions of communication.
no. My company, I'm working for the foundation. I'm working for the foundation.
And which email
That's
address you would use then to communicate with Craig and BitGet and everyone who is re-asking if they maybe also want to delist?
Well, I have my Aavegotchi DAO address, domain too, and that's I'm yeah, in this sense, I'm so to speak a servant to the protocol, and yeah, um, yeah. So I don't see it like, from my position. Yeah, you asked me personally. It's not easy. Yeah. I think there is a and I talked to a very famous regulatory lawyer a whole hour, and we understood each other in that sense, that regulations are something that's not law. Law is something very binding, something very grounded, and you can work with it. But regulations, which is the space we uh, navigate, or yeah, is they are dynamic. They are there. They have to be dynamic. And as long as you are still in this regulated area, mm, these questions are open, really open, and just it happens
But
that
how to
he.
answer them? The question is, because the questions are pretty clear in the chat, how we can prevent to be delisted from big tier one exchanges, or
So
how we
I
can
think
get into new listings. How can we
Mhm.
go into new listings of, let's say, Upbit, Korean market, or BitHub, and
Well,
so on? It was also asked. The question is, it must just
uh,
be clear, because
uh-huh.
there are two ways of
Yeah,
being listed. One, an exchange
yeah,
is listing you because they love the volume on other exchanges. They see there's
yeah.
potential, there's
The
buzz,
idea,
there's some,
the idea.
this is the normal way. Or the second is you contact them and they make you an offer. Hey, pay us 100K in stables, we list you, we make a campaign, you come to the launchpad, and so on. I don't know, honestly, how Ghost Token came to Kraken, how Ghost Token came to OKX, how Ghost
Man,
Token
it's
came to
something.
BitGet. This is only what Koda Dan and Jesse could answer, because this
Yeah,
can also prevent us from being
yeah.
delisted if we're not
That's good.
fulfilling the MiCA compliance in
So,
Europe and all the other
well,
things, because a
I
Cayman entity is not fulfilling
So
this.
I'll say
well,
this,
okay.
just as
Mhm,
like being part of the DAO for so long, the DAO didn't
mhm,
exist when these tokens were listed on most of the exchanges, if I'm not mistaken. So the
mhm,
DAO, we hold a large chunk of Ghost, but we didn't deploy the contracts to launch Ghost or any of the Alchemicas.
mhm.
So we can't, obviously we are limited here, and it would be good to know, because like Pixelcraft would have had to be the ones in contact with Kraken or with Binance or
Mhm.
Base or any of them, unless it was a thing where they're
Yeah,
just like, hey, this project rocks, let's just list you.
yeah. Well, yes, the one thing is like opening a business account with them, which is very, very regulated. But I honestly, how it went down back then, how it is going down now. Well, I, we would have, yeah, we have to. mm, uh, mm, I think you cannot compare it. You cannot compare now the regulatory, like I said, environment now with the regulatory environment back then. That's
This
the
is why
thing.
we find a solution now. This is why I
Yeah, yeah,
want to
yeah,
ask these
yeah,
open questions, because we need
yeah.
now to discuss when we have the Saturdays. We
Mhm,
only have the Saturdays to ask these
mhm.
questions and to clarify also with Pixelcraft what is their take on this. I don't know if Koda that just want to speak. As I said, I missed a long part, but this would help a lot because it starts with the emails, it starts with the passports, it starts with KYB, know your business, and then know your customer and beneficial owners, and all these questions are on every exchange coming. So and we have to be smart and look forward. So we should not say, hey, we're still listed, let's wait. Hopefully we will not delist it. It's just the way we cannot handle business. It's just you go to like Lotto and try to win the millions if your numbers are drawn, right? It's if we talk about serious business, we have to find answers immediately and just act, and you know what to do. If you need, for example, like a Pixelcraft email, or they are doing it, and you just put it to Pixelcraft, say, hey, who's your head of compliance within Pixelcraft, and he, or who's your interim lawyer, he must now answer these questions of Binance. He must now answer these questions of Kraken. He must now submit all the proposals and documents, do it yourself, that you don't have to send me your passports, and so on. It's just like a clear process of getting verified KYB and also doing new listings.
It has to
So I
be a
have a
clear
question real
process.
quick because we have a statement here. It says Pixelcraft entity did not deploy Ghost token, and yes, we basically got FOMO listed by all the exchanges. So we know the FOMO listing thing, but then who deployed the token if it wasn't Pixelcraft? Because it wasn't the DAO. The DAO wasn't like in Cocoon or whatever we called it back then, barely a functional entity. Who was? I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't there at the creation of the token.
That was earlier than I was there. But the thing is, were they first those who bought from the curve had to KYC. You know, all that are that bought directly from the curve had to KYC. So these investors,
Yeah.
of course, one sentence to that. So now I wouldn't have a problem. I would go to Kraken and say I'm the beneficial owner. Okay, but that would be against our constitution, which states there are no. Okay, but we've changed. If we change the constitution and put in there, okay, it's me, it's you, it's him. Okay, us three or us 30 are the beneficial owners. Yeah, then they will be satisfied. Of course, they will be satisfied. Yeah,
No, it's
we have
necessary,
yeah,
Nestor. It's not satisfied. It's just
no
a
problem.
necessary
I just said
thing.
no problem. I just said no problem. I go there. If you give me, if you or if the DAO gives me, the mission, that I shall go there and say I'm the beneficial owner, I will do that. No problem. Okay,
Yeah,
but I have to have
with a German passport as beneficial
an
owner, you have
Austrian.
it much more easier as a US passport. I can let you know,
Yeah,
and you
no,
know this, so
yeah,
you can get more
that's
listings
one
with your
reason.
German passport.
It's one reason why I'm
I think it would
sitting
be
on
good
on
to
on,
know
on
who
this
deployed
in
the
this role.
token, though. That's not a difficult question to answer. Like we should know who deployed the token. It didn't just magically appear. Someone had to
No,
also deploy the smart contracts for a bonding curve, right? There's a UI that you could have used. I wasn't eligible because I was a U.S. citizen, so I never played with that. But
well,
like,
if you, if
what
if
entity
somebody can
deployed
find
it?
me that, I would be very thankful. Sorry to interrupt. Just you said a very important point in the future. If somebody can find me that, because I had my head in 10 directions. So this digging, I will do the digging. As you said, maybe I find something. I would be very happy because I would have loved to come with a good message about the business accounts. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, you
good
need
question.
it. We just these are the things we just have to clarify, because at the moment we're talking about multi-sig
Now,
signers, we're talking about a lot of things, and
mm,
distribution more funds. But we should start at the beginning to say, okay, which are the documents which can be submitted, from passports to beneficial owner to registry accept from the Cayman Islands or from Pixelcraft in Singapore, and so on. And then you can make easily business. And we're discussing
I
just
know,
how can we
I
prevent
know,
that the ghost token is going to 1 cent.
I
But
know.
the question is, just do the homeworks. Just work
I
week by week on the boring stuff of the
I'm doing
business, which
it
is
every day.
compliance and legal stuff. Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the honest answer for everything. And the rest is just going, because compliant companies will be staying and people will invest. So
of course, of course. You have to represent something. You have to represent. You have to represent yourself and the company and the not only that, but also the idea. That's the one thing. The legal side, that everything has its order. That of course that's important. But then you have also with conviction, yeah, and to step up and say, well, we are here and we want the money, or we give the money, whatever it is, and yeah. Um, well, everybody's invited, as you just said. If there is something that helps, then well, I tried in many directions, and yeah, So
Yeah,
I will keep.
because
I will
yeah,
keep at it.
you
Um,
told me that Binance answered you that the documents you provided were not enough, and in the end they asked you
yeah.
questions you could not answer, and this is why we're delisted because
Uh,
they have to
yeah.
delist.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe this was not because of that. That was before my
Yeah,
time
but
that they
you know we
decided.
both know that this is a big point of the process when it comes to ask questions to answer them.
Well, yes, yes, of course. But there, I think I satisfied the what was asked of me. But there is no transparency there. That's not like a court or so. That's a private firm, and if they decide not to do business, I choose like in America. No, I have at my bar. I have the sign. I choose who I serve. Yeah, and if you're not my type of customer, then yeah, you won't get a foot in my bar. So okay, yeah. And it's of course with the problematic is that they are now under pressure, as we all know. So they don't want to risk anything. And well, yeah, um,
Yeah.
if it would have been, I would be very sad, if one answer from me would have decided about the fate of Ghost on Binance. That would be well, yeah, I would have to live
But
with that.
yeah, but I can let you know they're trying to get the license, the Mika license here in Germany since 2 years. And the BaFin said we are controlling, and they have processes internally. And I have a lot of employees in Binance. I know the head of global marketing even of Binance. I think with some words of mine, I could even bring goes back to Binance when everything
You
is
see?
there in place because I have a good direct line into Binance. But the point is, a lot of people said also, do we want it? But just for other exchanges which are more trustworthy, we have to say, okay, in the future it must be answered. Who is in the end the entity? And when we talk about the ghost token and which documents and passports and beneficial owners and anti-money laundering and terrorism and all this stuff will be answered and sent, and who's doing it from which email address? Is it from Pixelcraft, from Aavegotchi.com, from which whatever? And this is a process which must be defined. And Nestor,
Yeah,
last
yeah.
words to this, that we don't leaving this room without like a conclusion. What are the
Mhm.
next steps to make it happen? What are the next steps to make it happen? To have a Google Drive or like a place where everything is uploaded to just define, okay, this will always
Mhm.
be taken if a question comes. I mean, this makes it
Oh,
for you easier if you want to be in the communication, or
mhm.
this is something within Pixelcraft that there's like an interim lawyer which is doing it. But because this is basic and this is just what I would love to, and I don't say, hey, Nestro's answer are the reason that
Mhm.
a ghost token is delisted by Binance, but everyone in the room should understand
That
that
would be power.
compliance is the most important thing at the moment for a project. Look at the market.
Right now it is. Look, I'm building up the infrastructure for that, for like for my part, but it's something modular. Anybody can say, well, I have here a safe, on chain or something like that, and let's do it with this stuff. So I'm very very open to that. Now, if the yeah, there are some who are also building and they are very excited about it. So I'm absolutely open to work with anybody. And as you say, just let's state what is necessary. Like you said, these are very clearly definable points. And like the documents, I'm now waiting again on the documents from our liaison to the corporate secretary. How is it called? And when we get that's a certificate of good standing, and it's a certificate of what is it called? Another important one, and they cost money. So, but we have a discretionary budget, so that has to go into that. Or it goes into something other. Then you have the legal retainer. One lawyer advised me sternly I should have get a lawyer here. Well, I'm not that well unprotected, I would want to say. But yes, yes, of course, that also shouldn't be the case that I would be like somehow endangered. But which it isn't. Of course, yeah, all these things are have to put one have to keep in mind, you know. hmm And it's good. It's good. Another thing is the next thing. Like I say, my page is going up. I saw Soundsys page is going up. So there's some infrastructure that can be easily used, for example, as to be a representative for the foundation. And we should think about that. Um, I will try to do more to make clear what it really is. It is a very good construct. So I talked to several lawyers. Um, they said it is timely. It is still one of the best legal wrappers there is. But of course, if we want to do some form of business, then we would have to think about maybe like, not a split, but one part of the foundation being non profit oriented, the other one being explicitly profit oriented, and we would have our people for the one side and for the other side, and it could also be that's also a thinkable model that we could pursue. Yes. So
I don't
it's
know.
Yeah,
not
that's
that
I
great.
clear.
don't.
Great to
Sorry.
know. Great.
Yeah, I don't understand how the DAO could be in conversations with market makers and with exchanges and we don't even know who deployed the token, like, and that can't be shared with us
Okay.
like, in a transparent way. That to me, I can't understand that. I'm not big brain enough to understand this, obviously, but it does seem very weird that
Yeah.
this information
Yeah.
isn't, like, can't be discussed. It's you're asking us to,
It is.
the DAO to take on market making stuff. There was a lot of money given towards
Yeah.
Pixelcraft, towards their previous efforts, and like at least transparency should be, basic here. We haven't gotten any kind of income statements or like revenue updates or any of the stuff that was promised. So to not be able to tell us like this basic information is shocking, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, so last word to this. I mean, I also was researching a bit all the SIG props and chips, and how I understood it when the 3 million was distributed to Pixelcraft, so the Singaporean entity, there was like the obligation that up to 13 million will be paid back. So 3 million which were given and 10 million, so from 20% revenues in the future, which are generated with bazaar trades, the guys chain, merchandising, and so on. So even if the guys chain was sunset, there are other things of revenue which could be generated. And when there is like 3 million distribution and there is the sentences that 20% will be paid back, this is in the sentences itself is like a reporting statement, because how should the DAO value now the year of 2025, for example, if they don't get like statements of income, of revenue, of
Exactly.
expenses, and how much was made. It's this approved $3 million Egypt itself is having a reportment statement decided. So the question is, okay, should the DAO now make a new SIG prop to get this reports, or is it just provided by Pixelcraft? It's just a question. How I
Good
myself,
question.
as a
Good
dentist,
question. Good question. Yeah.
understands this SIG prop
Yeah.
and Egypt, what was approved. It's just my
Yes.
conclusion of this Egypt.
And I say it's not a wrong conclusion, but I say also if you want to engage with such a in a language, then you have to speak the language, and that would be I offered it, yeah, to everybody a formula, a simply accounting. That's on the plus, that's on the minus side, that's like 101 if you make, as a 14-year-old here in Austria, your business school, Hack, yeah, Handelsakademie, and yeah, 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 absolutely. And we are just again at something very simple, very formal, and yeah, I will make an effort. I see, but as I say, take some time, and absolutely, I concur. I concur. It has to be on paper. It's maybe sometimes it's like we talked about it, a signature. A little piece uh, of tinte of ink on paper um, can change everything.
Yeah, so I think the question was asked. Could I then just said this that his baby is, or his son, or yeah, his kid is crying. So yeah, I just wanted to ask this because this was very important for me. These are the two biggest things: that 3 million to Pixelcraft, and then also the 1,111 ETH out of the DAO treasury distributed to illegal wallets, because these are the significant amounts which were moved, and the rest, even if it failed, you can put beside, because these two things change the company future and the present, right? And this is why these two topics must be reviewed, must be monitored, must be optimized, and there must be conclusion. And this is why I said the 3 million which went to Pixelcraft need a reporting itself, because this is written in their own AGIP. And then also, okay, how to go forward. Everyone said it makes sense to distribute, as I said, the wordings. Sorry to say this, some ease out of the some ease out of the treasury. So a big amount, and it should be a security topic that we are not exploited by someone. But now mostly I don't see that someone who got the ease is buying into Ghost or is doing something. So was it really like a security idea to save the treasury, or was it just a distribution? But looking forward, let's talk about cohort 2. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about how we can engage more people for Gotchi Battler, how we can document everything. The most important is we have to know, is it Pixelcraft which must provide the documents and the passports and the beneficial owners and all this stuff, or is it a Cayman Island DAO, to be honest? Because in my opinion, personally, it's Pixelcraft, but this is my personal opinion at the moment. Nestor, you must find yourself in this jungle.
I am in this jungle, right? As you say. I'm pursuing also this front continuously, yeah, and I'm widening my my reach in this sense, and um, uh, yeah. What,
But you should set it up. You set it up because even if the creators proposal now for this upcoming year was discussed hot, and we had some positive and negative feedbacks, even if any amount of money would be distributed, it should be beforehand reported the last year of that everyone can review in an Excel sheet or something. Okay, this was spent by creators, just as an example, in 2025, and these are the results, and not in a single Discord chat where everything is very weird and so much messages, just like a drive or like a cloud where all this is reported, because this is something which the statements of the DAO are also by Maxi Crucial in the drive. So there is a Google Drive. So why not using it for exactly this? For everyone who wants to have money again must report the last year and must report quarterly, whatever. So this is very easy to make a SIG prop for this.
Look, I'm this SIG prop is the next SIG prop I want to make. Now one is running. I wait till I post it. You know, there's a little bit more discussion about who maybe hey, anybody can be a signer, and everything I proposed in this prop, like with the on-chain stuff, yeah, is just like inspiration for the goal that we are have to go to, that we will be an on-chain governance. Yes, if you want it, you can want it or not want it or not like it, it doesn't matter. That's the goal. That's stated. That's represented by me too. And simultaneously, I'm building also like this accounting app. You know, it's very easy now. It takes some time, okay, because I'm not anymore used to code. But it's like it's a management job. You know, coding is now a management job, and I'm just building up uh, my little army of little workers, and well, they will succeed, and so it will be up. Yeah, this app, um, this exactly what you're talking about, a real-time accounting app, accounting for everything, and
And when you
yeah.
look into February, what do you think is achievable? So what are the next steps for yourself when you represent the
Mhm.
DAO? So what do you think? Yeah, what do you think is achievable in the time? And just to understand, because the month is running fast, the market is normally good to onboard more people because new people are looking into sectors, and gaming will be a sector which come back definitely. Look at all the prices. Illuvium. Look at Illuvium from $1,000 to $4. Or look at Sandbox. Look at everyone. Everyone said something about the gaming token or Mockaverse and all their ecosystem. So it is for all the sector agnostic games and in the industry very hard, but it will come back. We all know this, right? Meme tokens came
Yes.
back, NFTs came back. So
Yeah.
we should be prepared. That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
we should be prepared with liquidity, with
With
the
structure.
setup,
With structure.
the structure to know
Structure.
which is the entity and so on. Who are those? Yeah, especially. This is why
Yes,
I asked.
and you know we have as we talk now, everybody is a specialist in something. I think we are a very special community of very talented people, everybody in his or her métier and office, and we just have to talk more to each other and make use of it. We are sleeping on a whole bunch of potential and treasure, and this treasure is not only captured in the NFTs we have, but also in us. And in this sense, make exactly that. That's my aim. My aim is always has been, that was what attracted me. I spoke to you about it. It was governance. It was something more, something more like academic, and it still is, and it's now, yeah, another opportunity. But there are specialists like you, for example, for startups, or there's some specialist for like in no future very kindly offered this about for 5 years, like talking an hour alone on a stage, which is a craft, and others are crafty in other things, like wonderful artists and engineers. So it's like,
Yeah.
So real quickly, I just want to jump in real quick because I want to because
mhm,
the question that Crazy Crypto asked was very relevant, but I think that we're
mhm,
putting like the cart before the horse because we are
mhm,
facing like a signer
mhm,
cliff, right? At the end of this month, the terms are over. There's nothing in place for compensation. I don't know what people plan on doing. I don't really think I'm feel like 99% sure I'm not going to be a multi-sig signer of my own volition
yeah,
going forward. At the end of
yeah,
this month, I will stop signing.
mhm,
Like that's just because my
okay,
role is over. I've done what I needed to
yeah,
do. So I think we need
yeah,
to, because we are at the seventh. Talk about that because your mic wasn't working. So this is very pertinent information that we should get to. Like, what's the next steps going forward in terms of the nomination for the election and then the SIG
yeah.
props? Because you're kind of running that. So just so we can get back on
Uh,
track before, because that's going to be
mhm.
important to the rest of everything.
Well, look, the foundation will not be dysfunctional. The signers, the 5 of 9 signers, that's an option. It's not, if they are not there, then they are not there. You know, essentially, you could have 2 directors, like now. You could have 1 director. Um, so yeah, and we could always change it. We could always change this system, yeah, with a vote. I could put it into the next prop right away, and we say it's 2 or 3, or it's only 1, or it's 2, um, whatever you want. And so that's not the problem. In my opinion, it's better. Less people to having to pay. Yeah? It brings with it risks, like everything. Yeah, having less signers,
I think the issue
but
that you're forgetting though is that we can't.
mhm,
It's a multi-sig, right? We can
mhm,
we can change the multi-sig, but
mhm,
if no one is there to sign, the multi-sig is stuck. We have to replace multi-sig signers first, one by one, to whoever
mm,
is new. And what Kokushu's saying
no,
here, signing
no,
without being voted in is not legally feasible.
no. Moment.
So that's why this
We
is
could
pertinent
say,
that we kind of get this.
mm, are you still there?
Yeah,
No,
because it's
I
on
don't hear
chain.
anything.
Like you can't just say, "Oh, we're now three." Like
No, it's gone.
we would need to, yeah.
It's
It would
gone.
take like actual on-chain signing to make any kind of switches. And if we can't sign or won't sign, then we're in a pickle. This is why I brought this up months ago that we need to get back towards, replacing the people who have stepped down. Yeah, so I guess going forward, do you foresee the nomination? When do you see the nomination process starting and then the SIG props?
I think maybe his connection is lost, but that's the right question. No futuristic. And what's your recommendation? Because you did it in the past. You know how hard it was also to convince people. So how would you solve it now from your perspective? Because as you said, the February is a short month. We always have in place a SIG prop needs 2 weeks and AGIP needs 2 weeks. So we're talking with a week in between, maybe about 5 weeks. Then it's already middle of March. So the DAO could not do anything 2 weeks, which I understand. Because the signers are not replaced. Is it correct
Pretty much,
already?
yeah. Our term ends in the beginning of March. There are a couple signers who like phase the new signers that were added on in the election that we did last year prior to the replacement elections, those people technically didn't get on for a month or two after. They will be in this role not being compensated. Now, I'll speak on behalf of the signers in the sense that they're all good people, and I'm assuming that they most of them don't mind continuing to sign. But I can't tell you that that's what is going to happen. There are probably people who don't want to continue, and yeah. So the process should be that we had an election very quickly, or when I say election, we're going to have a nomination period. That's going to take at least a week. Then we have to put up the SIG prop of who would be elected in, and then the core prop to like validate it and make it official. Once that happens, then we need the signers to start swapping out the people into the multi-sig. The question is, do they, with the last time, this is what I brought it up earlier, the last time that we did this, we didn't let people onto the multi-sig as signers until they were KYC'd with our corporate secretary. Now it's unclear what the KYC requirements are. I think it's a little bit more lenient. So there is a potential that we could get them in quicker, but
Mhm.
it's gonna, our time frame is crunching real quick. Like basically, if we start this election, the nomination process today, we can have a prop go live next Saturday, and then a week from next Saturday, if everything works out and we reach quorum, we then go to core prop, and then we can start the motion in the beginning of March of switching people if there's no KYC. The issue also becomes that if this doesn't pass, then you sit in a situation where you have multi-sig signers who are no longer valid, because we did put, like, prior to this, we didn't have a term limit. There was there wasn't a how long we could be here. If like our term's over, I don't know the language of the prop, if that means like that's it, you're done, like unless voted back in. That is, other people can interpret that, but in the ideal world, this should start today and finish
It
by the
started
28th.
already 2 days ago.
No, I mean the official, like, people are, because in your conversation, I don't think anybody has nominated themselves, because we also don't know what the compensation is for it.
That's to be discussed, but the nomination is out there.
Yeah, so
I
then
And it was
started.
very
I
short.
haven't
You
heard
said like
anybody.
72 hours only, nomination
Yeah,
only
yeah,
72
right, right,
hours. So
right.
it's
Yeah, right. It's
over
the first.
at midnight or night or
It's
what?
third day. It's the third day now. Exactly. But yeah,
So have we had
we have
anyone
the.
nominate themselves?
Yeah, I don't. Not that I know of. Now the last 2 hours maybe. I still, as I said, the on-chain stuff is not there, but you can like always you can nominate yourself in the thread. That was always the case.
My worry though is, and like I said, I'm most likely not going to go forward as a multi-sig signer, but my worry would be like, how will people sign up for a role that they don't really have clear? Because right now, also, you're talking about restructuring, correct? Like changing
Yeah,
potentially the number of multi-sig signers and all that.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think in the time frame that we have enough time to like
Right.
get that all done
That's
within
that's
3 weeks.
that's a that's a stroke of a pen. I write into the prop. It's 3 of 5. Then it's 3 of 5. And if you vote on it, if the DAO votes on it, then it is like it
Okay,
is. Then it's exactly like
yeah, so
that.
that could
And
happen next week. All right,
if
fair.
it's 2 of 2, if it's 2 of 2, if the DAO says it's 2 of 2, then it's 2 of 2. And if they say they have to get $1,000 per month, then it's like that. I cannot. Shall I decide how much they get paid?
These are so much good
I
questions
don't.
because these are basic information which should be written anywhere, right? Because these are things. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
You
right.
can write
Because,
it. You can write it. You can write it right now. Right now, you can write it.
okay,
Right now. Yeah. Right now.
but
Write
yeah, these
down.
are
Write
basic
down. Write down
questions.
a name. Write down a name. Write down a number. That's like 8 or 10 letters on the keyboard. It takes
Okay,
you. It's
okay,
yeah.
no, are good. But
Takes you.
the
Yeah.
point of no futuristic is that we are
Yeah.
completely in the restructuring process, and you said there are a lot. You're waiting for feedback of this secretary office. You're waiting, so we have the
No, no,
pressure now of this. But maybe it's the nomination period is also too less
That was
time, and maybe we should.
that was always very separate from anything else. It was every time like that. People said they wanted to be nominated again or anew, and then it was always enough. It was always enough. It was always nine people there. Now, if it's not 9 people, well, then we have to adapt. We
But
have
how
to
much
adapt.
people we have now, Nesto? If it's ending at midnight or in 2 hours, how much people
No,
are
no, no,
nominated?
no, no. prop,
Yeah,
the
because I think
final
that's
prop,
the problem. If no
the
one
core
is
prop ends at 28th of February. 28th of
no,
February.
we're talking
So
about the nomination process. Because if no one is
nomination process
nominated
has
themselves,
another 3 days. Another 3 days. Another 3 days.
yes, but what I'm saying is no one nominates themselves after 3 days. Then what's the next
Uh,
step? Because it's clear, like
no,
what
okay.
FaZe is saying, at least three current signers who are not going to renominate themselves.
Mhm,
And
okay.
Kokushu does have a good point that, like, you
What do
know,
you suggest?
there is a lack of. Say again.
What do you suggest? What should happen?
Well, we should hop in a time machine and go back to when I brought this up 3 months ago and deal with it when I
Mm,
said it was an issue.
yeah.
But that we can't do
I'm
that.
with you.
So
I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm with you. I will come with you. Absolutely. But
yeah. Better
yeah,
chance.
but
Right
yeah,
now, we're kind of in a hole because, like I said,
uh-huh.
if
But
the
we won't
goodwill
close
of
shop.
members taking on risk for the DAO has evaporated in a lot of ways. So it would not be
Look,
unreasonable at the end of this month for people to say, I'm done. Here's your ETH back. You guys can figure this out. And then the DAO
mm,
has to figure it out. Now, I'm not advocating for that, but that is a right
no,
that people have. So we are in an
of course,
existential situation where we could have
yeah,
less than five
yeah.
people that are able to
Look,
sign the transactions
yeah.
to even restructure.
Look, it's in the common sense that if there wouldn't be enough signers and they had no mandate, they give the mandate back. That's how the secession of a multisig functions. You know, everybody just signs off. There's a final transaction, and the multisig funds go to another address. That's how it's going down. Okay. Um,
So we
right
need a
now, okay.
vote for that too. Like we would need a whole core prop.
Yes,
And
we need a vote,
any of
but
these
no,
processes,
no,
unless they finish by the 28th, fall into a period of time where there's a lapse of what
what,
the signers can actually do. As Kokushi's pointed out, like because we are not legally, we have a term limit that was set in place
yes,
that says
yes.
your term is
You have
over.
to give
So
the money. It's not your funds, so you have to give it back to the DAO, of course,
I don't
and
have the
that the
funds
DAO is
though. You
represented.
guys set up a smart
Uh,
contract to put those funds in it.
Pardon?
It's not like
Pardon?
this money's in my pocket. If my term
No, no,
ends
no,
and
no, 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 no.
that's on y'all guys, you
They
gotta figure this shit
didn't
out,
want to
not
go
me.
that direction. I mean, you would look. You paid rent, or you have like a job or something like that, and then you and your job giver go separate ways. You give him back his keys or whatever, and he gives you back I don't know what, yeah, maybe something, and you go separate ways. But you give to the other what belongs to the other in whatever way. So if it's the multi-sig, then it's the multi-sig. Then it all will be transferred. I don't know to well to any address, to any address that is in the custody of I don't know. Yeah, but we write it into the prop, but it's not lost.
Yeah, I mean, Kokushi's saying it here. It's like nothing can be executed if we aren't protected.
How are we not protected?
Like we're outside of our mandate. Like I said,
What
there are
mandate?
people who
What
want to
mandate?
say the idea that our term is over. Like once the term
Yes.
is, it's not our job, especially when I did in good faith. I have it recorded. Mentioned this a month
Mhm.
ago
Yes.
that
Yeah.
our term ends and we need to do this. The DAO
Mhm.
decided to not heed that warning, and now we're in a very last minute thing. Now, the goodwill of certain DAO members could go on to make sure that they will sign, but we can't sit here and say that it's guaranteed a non-zero chance that
Mhm.
some like we only have
Mhm.
six to seven people.
Yeah.
If we have two
We have to
people
do something.
currently that
Yeah.
don't do anything, then we are potentially at risk.
Okay, then we are clear about that. We have to change it from 5 of 9. That's clear. Is it clear or not? That's clear.
No,
So,
I mean it is. I just don't see you doing it
yeah,
by the 28th.
why not? We can do it now.
But guys,
We
was there
you
any
have to
announcement?
do the
It's the
vote.
same issue with the partial treasury distribution voting. So is there any ping or announcement or that everyone knows, hey, you just have 3 days left, you can be nominated for multisig, here's the thread. So it's also the same. We're coming back to communication. I would bet that a lot of people have not even read because they don't know that it's time sensitive because they're not participating in these calls here, you know?
That's a point. That's a point.
We're always
But
repeating
okay.
the same errors.
Well, not necessarily. Now that we are talking about it, look,
But a multisig is very important, and multisig signers should be trustworthy. And for myself, I would not nominate myself because at the moment I don't know what documents have to be provided, who's the process, will I be published in the Cayman Island offline documents? Nestor, you know what we're talking about, or do I'm only a multisig signers? And I think no futuristic could also talk about things like this. So I mean, seriously, so where will be a multisig signer published? What documents are needed, and who's the process? So, and then
well, I
everyone
talked
can
about
decide for which money he wants to make it or not, and how much time he must invest per money,
yes.
per month.
Yeah, that I don't know. You know, that's very that is something the processes in the multisig they are very good as it seems. They are very good coordinated, and but I don't know. I don't know if maybe they are documents. I don't know it. But what I say is, it is good practice. You know, we won't get, like we talked about, any business deals or something like that if our multisig signers are not KYC'd. That's clear. But it is not necessary. We don't have to. In this form that we have, everybody is 100%. Okay, save $1. Maximal $1 of damages is allowed our constitution possible, and everything else is it's yeah. Nobody can get a cent out of you. All of us are, except for me maybe, are protected. Okay, and even me is protected. I'm also safe enough. So that's the case. That's the case. Basta. And we decide what we want to do. And okay, I will make a all out call about that. But yeah, we decide if we want to have how many signers we want to have. Yeah, as you say, that's the deal.
Yeah. FaZe just popped up. I want to give him a chance to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Loud.
Good morning.
Nice. Good morning. Yeah, I
Good
just
morning.
wanted to repeat kind of what we said on the last couple calls. Like I've been on two calls uh in the last month, and both times we were kind of I repeated that confusion that we had about the delay between when the last election proposal actually happened and then
Mhm.
the time we were all onboarded. So like I didn't start signing, and most of the people weren't even added to the multisig till about 3 months in. I think we agreed that it was the end of March or beginning of April. So I think we have this buffer that might be worth at least finding out exactly where we're at with it. Kakusho came in even later as he was a replacement for somebody who
Correct.
left. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not as solid. Um,
No.
the date where our term started, there was a payment that was made. Like I'm still like I've been here for a
Mm.
year now, and I'm confused about the timing of
Yeah.
the
And we talked about it. Yes. We
yeah,
will start.
as we're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Mhm. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Just because yeah, just because like so for facilitators, right, for facilitators we get paid at the end of every month, so it's very easy to know what month we when our terms began and when they ended, as far as it relates to the proposals that got us in these positions, right? But with
Mm-hmm.
the signers, it's a little bit more difficult because we had 3 to 4 separate ones, just firstly for the new group, and then with the replacements that came in the subsequent months. So like
Okay.
there was a payment that was made to me, I think 3 months in, that wasn't even for the full amount of the quarterly payment.
Mm.
I'm not bringing this up because I'm asking for
No.
the rest
As
of it.
an example.
I'm just saying it's adding to my confusion about when my term
Exactly.
actually began. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's an example for the disarray of this situation. Yes, I absolutely concur. So we have to make now decisions. That's absolutely right. And I would suggest I will write it right now as of today into the prop. We will reduce it. We will reduce it. We can now say if nobody yeah has something against it, we reduce it to 5. That's loud. That's anyway. So will we find 5 people? Not 9, but 5. And if not, well, we have now a precedent with the Gachi Battler multisig. There are 3 people, 3 people. So I would say, as of now, I will write it now into the prop. It will be only 3. It will be 2 of 3. So we have already 2. I don't know if Maxi will go on or not, but I surely hope. But that would be him. That would be me. I will nominate myself. And okay, now I will write it right now into the prop. There's nothing speaking against it as of the director's prop that I'm not able or not allowed to do it. It's
That's
explicit
again,
in the
it could be also 4 of 7, but no, most people doesn't know. And again, it comes to the question, which documents have to provide it, how's the process? So maybe make just a clarification post after this call and say, hey, there was a discussion. If you want to nominate yourself, A, this is what you have to do. B, these documents have to provide it then. C, there will be this and that. And D, this is the compensation everyone got. And E, if you miss at least let's say 2 or 3 signatures and you not show up for an appointment, you lose your so you are out or something, or there let's say a process will be started to put you out of the multisig because you have not showed up 2 or 3 times. This is A, B, C, D, E, and clarified ping at every channels, announcement channels. And of course it's safer if you have 4 of 7, right? So if you say 2 of 3 signatures are enough to put away 1 or 2 million, I'm sorry to say this is a bit obvious not to do this.
Yeah.
As you say, I opened it up. There came some, comments came back, and I'm very thankful for that. Kokusho face, yeah, you engaged the discussion. That was very helpful, and exactly. There are many aspects to consider, but we can break it down to the brass of it, to the core of it, like Dennis just said. We will state I will simply state it. It will stand in there. Yeah, you will vote on it. It will be, well, let's say 2 or 3. And then maybe that's provocative enough that somebody will stand up and say, no, I want to be part of it. Okay, then come on.
No, but we already said then you're doing the same mistake as this VR dev guy, always making the wrong words on these buttons. And don't say it must be 2 of 3 now. Just make it explainable what you need, and then there's 3 days left, and everyone can nominate, and everyone knows what he's get. No, futuristic said nobody knows now. Why should I do it? What do I get for it? How much time I have to invest? Is it every second Saturday? Is it once a month for 1 hour? Yeah, but it's always this. Who decides it? It makes me really angry because these are basic things. We're talking about millions of dollars which have to be protected, and we cannot say, oh, there's a call short after 2.5 hours, we reduce it now of 2 of 3. And it's me, it's Mark Ricoshi, and
no, I have a suggestion. So in the thread, the discussion thread that we put up, right, that Nestor put up, very in depth, and it kind of hinted at all these things. I was the first reply in there, and I made it a point to say that whatever proposal ends up as a result of this discussion, that it would be important to mention that this would be kind of updating or amending the terms of AGIPS 50 and 139. Like now this was going to be the new standard, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
So to just move it forward and kind of satisfy all the things that you guys were just talking about right now, Nestor, if you were going to put something in there right now to suggest maybe
right now. Listen,
if you're going to say something about 4 of 7 signers, for example, and then the other points that
yes, again, listen, now I'm writing it up right now. That takes me like now 60 seconds. We repeat what we just said, okay? And I'm very, very comfortable to do that. So this proposal will update several other proposals in the past. I will, of course, enumerate them as will be, okay, like this one. Then that is point 1. Like
right.
Römish 1, yeah, Roman 1. That's the cardinal points here. Okay, second, I'm listening.
I think we repeated it just
then repeat it a second time, please, to be sure. Please.
I think I said it already 2 times, but
no, 2 times. Then face maybe repeat it. Somebody repeat it. I'm now concentrating on writing.
Okay, yeah, that's all good. So I said that everyone should know the points where how much time is necessary per month.
How
Is
much
there like a,
time?
let's say, when will the signings be done? Is it once a month, or is it every
Often.
all 2 weeks? Is it like, let's say, after the DAO calls on a Saturday at 5 p.m. or 6, so that there is like a like a date that everyone can plan, because some people can maybe they know when it's happening. What's the compensation? What makes you uneligible to be a signer if you miss 2 or 3 of this calls or signature appointments? So
Eligibility.
everyone can be ill. Everyone can be ill 1 time, 2 time, but the third time you're out, right? So this is
Okay.
understandable. If you come too late to work, you get maybe 1 warning, 2nd warning, but the 3rd warning is your cancellation of your
Yeah.
contract. So
Mhm.
everyone is understanding this. And the next is then also, okay, which documents are needed if I want to nominate myself? So which documents have to be provided? Is it KYC or not? So which do I have to send my passport? Where will be my data stored, my passport? Is it public? Everyone can see then. Honestly, if you talk about your data, yourself said people want to be protected and don't see their public address in a drive or somewhere. So I understand this is a very important question, and it must be written there. And yeah, and then also which of the existing signers will continue, and then you link everything, mention all of them. Please confirm shortly you will want to be nominated again, and you will renew. So and that's it. Oh, a new futuristic phase. Do I misunderstand anything?
I mean, everything
Well,
except for the issue of penalizing. Like I brought that up. Have you read
yeah.
the thread?
I think that's cleared
Crazy
now.
Crypto.
It's cleared up now. That's the point. That what you said now, Crazy Crypto. It's something that was already decided on. I was waiting
Yeah.
on this call. Exactly at to the end. If anything comes, yeah, and after that I would have anyway, yeah, written something down. So I'm very glad that it culminated now in this. What will stand there is the reference to the proposals. What will stand there is that there has not to be a KYC, but when you have not a KYC, then you are not a director. Yeah, you're not you're quasi like a yeah mechanic mechanic. Yeah,
You're a signer. You're just a
yeah,
signer. You're
yeah, no
you're
signer. Okay, a signer. And what was the third one? Well, how often it will take place? I don't know that. Look, I would imagine several. I can propose something, of course, regularly, once a week, twice a week.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah,
That was also
um,
brought up in the thread as well. Like
yeah,
we talked about like one shouldn't even nominate themselves if they can't check in twice a week
absolutely.
at least. Most importantly, being on Saturdays in the hours like 2 hours surrounding the start of the call.
I'm very
This
thankful
is
if
when
you
most
write
of the
that sentence. You can write if you want something exactly be represented in the prop. Then it will be there from my
yeah,
perspective. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there. It's in our thread. Like even if you just do a
yeah.
summary of
Perfect.
the thread, it's in there.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
I'm very thankful for that. So we have these two things. We have there will be regular votings. Yeah, be expect that. You can formulate it like that. Yeah, and then we have also this point with the that was just a proposal from my side. It would. It could. I don't know. Everybody has a different opinions to that. So that is all. And the last point, I will not make a statement. I will present to you this thing. This is almost ready, where everybody can vote. Yeah, it's a system I think is very good. Nobody criticized me about it in particular, and there you can something. Then you can put something in between $200 a month and 3,000. I think yes, $3,000 a month. Or if it be by quarter, that's also how often will the pay be. Um, we can keep it the same quarterly, okay? How often pay? I will write it down. How frequent? Mhm.
But yeah, these are the points. I mean, this is what I told you, Nestor, also when the election of the director position came. And I'm really honest. I'm happy that you are doing this, because it's a lot of work. But I mean, this was the same. If you have like a vote for the director and you have a difference between, let's say, under $10,000 a year and 75,000, this is also. I mean, you know how the people are, what they vote. So the money should be everyone should just get because everyone is doing the same, everyone is investing the same time, everyone is doing the same task. It should be just aligned. There should be an amount which which is fair and defined. So not everyone should say what he wants to have. So, and I would also not do, why are we doing twice a week? No, futuristic. How often you have to you signed the multisig in a month? If you look back, how often was a signing? And even there could be an appointment where you don't to have discussed anything because there is no signature to do, and then you say 5 minutes, hey guys, great that everyone is healthy, nothing to sign today, I'm out, right? Oh, so
that
generally-
usually happens on Saturdays. Yeah, like
Yeah,
if we have nothing
generally
to sign on
during
Saturday,
meeting.
maxi crew time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from my
So-
experience, because I've been doing this for 2 years on the multi-sig, is
Mm,
we're at a
mm.
point, I think, of relatively low on-chain activity outside of the distribution that just recently happened, and now this market maker thing. Like I said earlier, currently monthly we are just right now just paying the facilitators. There were like before like recurring transactions to pay certain teams that were building stuff. Either I think FIFO, right? He was building stuff for the website itself. We don't have that many of those. We would also have for like rarity farming, we have to do a couple of transactions to send the money to the contracts for distribution. We're not really doing those right now. So in most times, once a week is often good enough. When it becomes stuff that's time sensitive, like swaps where it times out, when we have 9 of us, it's easier because like there is overlap in schedules. But for the most part, if there's less than 9, it becomes difficult. I saw all week like issues of trying to get the swaps done. There were times I was nowhere near my ledger, so I just couldn't do anything. But those issues do come up. On average, once a week is like, was standard, but even that, there would be times where we have a couple weeks where we don't do anything. At other
That's what I
times, there
mean.
were a lot of transactions relative to what we're used to. So I think that when a check-in doesn't necessarily be a meeting that we have, but like we all agree Saturday mornings, if we can attend the hangout, at least 5 or 6 of us, if that's the, a 5 of 9, then we're ready to make any signatures. Usually the treasurer has all that stuff ready in advance. And then maybe a midweek where not a meeting of any sort, but if there are any transactions, we can like use one of those like, apps where we can all pick a general overlapping schedule. So we know like, hey, if there's a time that we have something that's time sensitive, this time generally we can all get it done. In the past, like I said, if we have 9 active signers, we can do it very quickly because usually there is overlap in time zones. Now that we're down to really 6, maybe 7 active signers, it becomes a lot more difficult.
Well, realistically, we are. I don't know. Are we 7? Really?
I mean,
I don't
We
know.
don't know
there's,
because it's not yet communicated well, so we have to see.
Mhm.
we
And
lost
as
FIFA. We haven't replaced them. There's who else is actually on the multi-sig still and active? We lost Choina. We haven't replaced him. And then Lagan was inactive for a period of time. I think he voted for. I don't know if he
Yes.
participated in the distribution vote because I didn't.
Mm, yes, I
Yeah,
saw
but the
him
difference
once
between
in the last
7 of
time. Yes,
9
yes,
and
yes.
9 of 9 is huge because we've had this. Remember when everybody complained that rarity farming rewards didn't go out? We missed some kind of there was some payment for
Yeah,
aerodrome
okay.
that we missed for those epochs. That's because we were down to
Oh.
7 of 9. Like the difference between
Mhm.
No,
7
that
of
was the
7
first.
and
Oh
5
yeah,
and 9
that
is
was the
huge.
first class though. I think that's just
First
worth
term, yeah.
mentioning. Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, that
That
was
wasn't
first
the
term.
new group, but at
Mhm.
least because what happened with them was I think it was a matter of like comfort, to be honest. Like there was
Yeah.
no the term limits hadn't been defined yet, and that's kind of why I
Mhm.
got down into like making that proposal to begin with, was because like it was just open. So I feel like those people, some of the ones that went inactive, they just felt like they had this job that was going to pay them forever, and they kind of just took a back seat and let the guys that were signing handle it. You know what I mean? So we signed term
Mm,
limits. Stuff changed now, but
mhm.
now we have a new problem with a bunch of people falling off one by one. And at least this time around, the ones who have no intention of coming back have made it abundantly clear. So
Yeah, that's
But
good.
is everyone agreeing that the payment must be done in stable coins, that we're not dumping more the ghost token and that employees are getting just stable coins and this
We
amount stays
I,
every week the same? Every month?
I've written it. I think I've written it already in as I remember.
I just asked the question that we
Yeah,
clarify this.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah. No, it's USDC. I guess it will be USDC.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I
stables would
don't
be
think
better honestly because
yeah.
like when Ghost
Mhm.
had upside, it was great. But the time that Ghost had upside while we were signing, like that where it stayed at like a significant price above $1, I feel like we've had more time below $1 at this point.
Mhm.
But also like, I, if
Yeah.
the signers don't have to KYC to the level of what the
No,
original
they don't.
signers had to do, then the risk isn't as great because they could be
There's
anonymous.
no
And
risk.
like once again, the director kind of takes it. So take that
Yeah.
into consideration when you're deciding what the pay is. It's different if
Mhm.
we have to KYC and potentially be listed on documents, even not as like the director,
Would
but
you say?
any
Would you
kind of
say?
document.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. But I also won't define that. Yeah. I won't define that. After the vote. Yeah. If you want something, you ask for it, and yeah, and then we will see. Yeah. What?
So Nestor,
The only
just
issue with
as a
that
point,
though is the go ahead.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Pardon?
just state them as a matter of fact, and then put the draft in
Hmm.
the thread before actually publishing it, just in case there's any pushback on it, and we can edit that one last time. But
Of course.
maybe
Of course.
maybe just a short, just a short explanation of what's happening, and then
Yeah.
a section for where it's mentioned that this here are the exact amendments
Yeah. Mhm.
that kind of conflict with
No,
AGIP
th-
50 and
it's a very
139,
good
and
idea.
that's
It's
it.
a very
And
good
then it'll
idea.
just be bullet listed, right? So just
Yeah.
compensation will now be in stables for whatever amount. We
Okay.
will now have 4 out of 7 um, signers required to execute a transaction, as opposed to the traditional 5 of 9. Whatever. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
Just like point. And
Compensation.
honestly, I don't think like the people who care about this stuff are
Mhm.
us. Like we're the only
Yeah.
ones talking
Yeah.
about it here. We're the only
Yeah.
ones talking about it in the thread. So
Well,
the only way
but
to know if there will be any pushback at all, or even agreements, is to just kind of draft the thing and show them.
absolutely right. Everything that
Yeah.
I additionally wrote was just like an offer. It comes down exactly to that, as you say. There will be changes. If there will be only 3, then there will be 3 signers. I will state it exactly like that. If at the end, um, then there will be an amendment. This will amount to an amendment. Everything that is, yeah, and it can be only one. That's also good, and but there will be one signer. That is legally possible, and I clarified that already. That states our constitution very explicitly. So anybody who will be there will be the signer. Who not, then has decided that it will be so. Yeah. Good. The KYC documents, I also clarified that. I will say that now. That's also clear. If you are not KYC, you are not a director. You're just a signer. And as you said, also very correctly, I think no future. There should be a difference in compensation.
But can you
Regard.
clarify this point? What's the difference? Signer and director. Why should someone KYC to be a director or instead of not KYC to be a signer? Just clarify this important point. Why? What's the difference?
What's the difference if you are KYC? I mean, what you are talking
I can
about,
answer
like
his
for
question,
now
I think.
2 hours. If you are not KYC'd, you are, you get get, so to speak, the the might the power to sign from the directors. You're not really signing. Yeah, you're just doing the function in name of the director. No, that's all.
Okay, because
Yeah,
for me,
so
for me, it's not so
in
clear if you're
terms
signers,
Yeah, yeah.
because the nine people, every one of
Let the
this
legal.
nine did
Let the
KYC in the
legal.
past. Yeah.
No, I have
let
read.
me
I
let
have
me
read
let me
enough
explain something.
about it. It's
Yeah,
it's
give me
it's
a second.
it's
So it's
it's
the
exactly like that.
director is a governance role. It's a role for the Cayman Islands Foundation that they have to have because it's a statutory thing. We have a foundation. The foundation should
Yes.
have a director.
Mhm.
Previously, we called all the multi-sig signers
Yeah.
DAO directors,
That's yeah.
which now we know is not the right language. So the
That's.
multi-sig signer, yeah, we're the on-chain signers. We execute the on-chain will of the DAO. The
Mhm.
director theoretically can stop stuff that seems illegal or not in the
Yeah.
best interest. Like they have a fiduciary duty as the DAO's foundation director.
Mhm.
But the multi-sig signers previously were listed as roles in these roles on the foundation, where
Mhm.
now those would be
No.
separated. So by having
Yeah.
that separation, the director has to go through check your butthole kind of KYC, like full
Yeah.
KYC, versus the multi-sig signers have a lesser KYC, which
Well,
actually seems like we might not even
no,
need because they're not going to be listed on
no,
these
no,
documents.
none. I cleared it up. I cleared it up with the corporate secretary. They don't have to. They don't have to. But of course, well, as you say, yeah, they're yeah amounting to, yeah, somebody accidentally pressing a button. So
But Nestor, how I understood the explanation, of no futuristic at that
yeah,
time, when
yeah.
you were selected to be a director, you would
Yes.
have the power to stop the partial treasury distribution your own, right? As a director,
As a director,
because you
He was
were.
trying to get his name off of
separate.
the.
Let's separate. Yeah, we can talk about this too. Okay, but that's like a very. Do you have 2 hours more?
No, no, it
Me
was
not.
a
You're at
question
But
because
3 hours
futuristic
now.
said the
no, no,
director
no,
is having the
is
opportunity
it
to stop
no, no,
something.
if you think that is that easy to answer, yeah, and yeah, it's not.
Obviously, yes, because that's what New Futuristic said. If you're a director and there are signers which are not KYC, you as a director could stop the signers if it seems not trustworthy or you need more time, correct?
No, 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 no. Every signer can also step down. Every signer has.
Yeah,
Is
so
this right? The signer
signers can
has. This right the signer has.
But
This
no
right the
futuristic,
signer.
could you clarify maybe your point? But how I understood you, if you can do
yeah,
KYC and you're a director, you could stop, for
so
example, something which happened in the past, right? Or not?
yes,
No,
so
no,
as a
no, no, no. You
signer,
cannot. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot. You have to enact. The first thing is the will of the DAO. Yeah. And
yeah, but you
if
can't
this should
enact an illegal action. Like
an
that's
illegal
part of the
action,
rule.
that's correct.
Yeah. So
No, 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 no. That's
that's why
wrong.
my
That's wrong.
point of
That's wrong.
view is
No, that's
no,
wrong.
it's
That's wrong.
not wrong.
It's wrong.
My
It's wrong.
point of
It's
view
wrong.
has always
Man,
been
it's
that
wrong. What you said is
that's why
wrong.
you have a
Simply wrong.
fiduciary
No future.
duty.
It's wrong.
You have
It's
a
simply
fiduciary.
wrong. You can enact an illegal action. Actually, you can.
Um,
Actually, you can. Actually, you can. It's not.
you're not
You have to read. You have to read the Constitution exactly, word by word, and then you'll see. Be- You could also enact something illegal, but the utmost thing is the interests of the foundation.
Yeah, but a director
yeah,
must
I
have
disagree.
responsibilities. If you do KYC, you must have responsibilities. I just was
Correct.
reviewing because your name was published on the 17th of November on the Cayman Island. I got myself the registry. I saw your name, your address, everything is published there. So I saw that you were put in on the 17th of November. So even before all of this happened. So when this is
November?
what
No, 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 no.
Futuristic said,
November.
oh, it's published, you can read it. You can just get it. In November it was published, your name. So when you see this,
Not on the documents I received.
yeah, they are public. So just get it. And the point is, when you as a director are having the opportunity to stop something, this is a very big responsibility because you say, hey, and they are the signers which have not done KYC, but I'm the director, and I think even if you all want to sign it, we
We are
should
not
not do it.
talking. Moment, I'm not willing talking now about that. We are just talking about this prop, and now you are deviating from that.
No, I just said because it's for the future. If you're looking back, what happened, and there's a very
Correct.
important point between KYC and not
Pusha
KYC,
says
being a signer or director. This has to be clarified
correct.
here in this call.
No, that no, no,
Why not?
no. What I didn't even listen because you didn't talk to the matter.
Yeah, from your perspective.
Crazy
I
crypto.
mean,
But
there's a reason why I stepped down and
before
said I
you
would not.
exactly,
You know,
yeah, before you joined for these last couple of weeks, this has actually been like a major kind of point of discussion for maybe the last year leading up to when you started joining. No, because what happened was we discovered that no few like while we as the DAO were calling ourselves in accordance to the AGIP that founded that created the foundation, which is AGIP 50, it called the
Mhm.
signers and it called them directors. So then
Mhm.
we thought that everybody had to be that we were all on the level of director and everybody was on that same level of KYC. This is the group that came before me, right? But even by the time that the second, I'm gonna just call them like the second class of signers came on, this was kind of discovered that we didn't even know that um, on the foundation documents were 3 of the 9 original people, and it was like no future, Choina, and this guy Mycalium, who hadn't been around for a long time at that point. So it caused this new panic. I mean, you could go back listen to the old calls, but yeah, it was talked about every week. No Future and China were very adamant about. I mean, they kind of had no idea, so it came as a shock to them, and they wanted their names removed from that because that's not the role that they had originally signed off with. Then we went through the process with the new CorpSec about creating the distinction. They were calling us ledger monkeys for a while. I guess they changed it now to just signers, but there was a director So now whoever is going to fill the role of director understands the level of KYC that they're going to go through and what their
Yeah,
actual duties are, and how
exactly.
that's differentiates them from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
signers. Like this was
right.
this literally was what we talked about for maybe every DAO call for about a year,
Yeah,
leading up to where we are now.
But now you're searching new people who want to be nominated to be a signer, and they have to understand the difference between being a signer, responsibilities, and doing KYC, or just being a signer and not doing KYC. So for me, it was not even clear that there are different levels of doing KYC or not, because if you are a signer, normally everyone which is signing something should be known, right? So KYC, I don't even
Yeah,
understand why we're doing a difference here between KYC or not if we're talking about millions of dollars in a DAO treasury. So for me, even the completely approach is silly. So this is my statement. So that we are making a difference, that we can say, hey, you can be a signer of millions of dollars, but you don't know, we don't need KYC. What a bullshit, right?
yeah.
this is
You know,
that was through the
it's one
process, like he
position.
was telling you.
One
He
position.
dealing with the corp sec, they came up with that. Like who we had a different guy at the beginning who at first said, yeah, we need all kinds of KYC from the signers, and then a bunch of people were gonna drop out because of that. They didn't want to do that, like a bunch of people who had been there from the beginning. So a distinction was already made from like a legal counsel. It's not just an arbitrary decision from our side. Like nobody on this call made that distinction.
Okay, but we can discuss that everyone should do KYC, right? That we're not doing a different level of KYC or not. So, because
And we're
why should,
discussing always since half a year we are discussing that if there are different levels of KYC, and now they are.
Yeah.
And they always were. They always were. There was always the principle, like in our constitution, the directors or the director, it doesn't matter if singular or plural, can give their powers, so to speak, to an arbitrary number of people. Yeah, and they can then even go on and give it to others of the community, yeah, or others, yeah. That's like in the constitution, and so that's the case. But no, we not no nobody we all weren't talking about the constitution that was in place from the beginning, and we all misinterpreted it, me too, yeah. But now I can tell you I've read it 20, 30, 40 times, and yeah, now
yeah,
even now I have to say that it, like I said, with the regulations, there is so much open room. But one thing is clear, what Kokusha here says: the director only is like also a ledger monkey who is doing that what the
No,
DAO
no, you're
wants.
not. That is just
Well,
not true. In a Cayman
in a
Islands
sense,
Foundation,
I'm using a
you have a
metaphor. You
duty
use
of
the
no,
metaphor. I'm
bro,
using a
stop for a
metaphor.
second. You absolutely need to stop here. In the Cayman Islands Foundation, the director is a governance role. You have a duty of care.
Yes,
I've read enough
yes.
about this to understand that you are responsible. You cannot enable, you are like your job by law. You're not
Mhm.
allowed to allow the DAO to do something illegal. If they were to do, and this is why I'm worried about the distribution. A big
Allow
part of
them.
that is distributing funds to sanctioned individuals. This is why there are AML laws. We didn't follow any of that. We didn't seek legal
Mm,
counsel on any of
exactly,
that.
yeah,
So
but
there is a risk
then you
there,
haven't
and your
understood the
job as
concept
the
of our
director.
constitution and
The
of
Constitution doesn't
our
mean shit to the
foundation.
Cayman Islands government. Like, there's the
Mm,
foundation is like a legal thing. Your
yes,
job as a
exactly.
director, the director's job is a duty of care. You can, like, part of what that job states, even though we can argue what the on-chain governance means, the normie meat world doesn't give a shit about that. The director had, and we've discussed this ad nauseum over the year, that the fact that the director could, it had like these extra duties of care, including being able to tell the DAO, you can't do this. Like, if we decided as a DAO to vote to murder somebody, the director could stop that.
Well,
Like, say,
well.
hey, no, we can't do that. That signers don't sign that because that's an illegal act.
I mean,
Because that's
but you're
part of
bringing
the
there is
role.
absurd. Yes, of course, of course, of course.
and that's
That would
why
be
everyone
absurd.
waited, Nestor. That's why everyone waited for you to being the director, and it was not started before a new director is in place. This is exactly the reason. And you only said online you voted against it. It's not good, but you have not done anything. You just, as I said, it's the constitution is completely equal if you talk about law, because the law is, are you
Mm.
knowing where this money from the treasury goes to? Are you sending it to terrorists? Do you really know which of these 200 and, let's say, 470, 483 wallets are eligible with what the persons are, and so on? So, and this is not answers, and this
What
this is something you completely oversee.
are you accusing me of something?
No, I just tell you the facts. right?
No,
And
no,
I
no.
think he's
You're
accusing the
telling
members of the
facts. Yeah,
DAO
it sounds like
because they knew I wouldn't do it.
pardon, pardon.
This distribution happened after, and I made a big fuss a whole bunch of times that I think we might be doing stuff illegally and we should seek legal counsel. Some members here will say that it's my fault that we didn't because I was warned by other members of the DAO that the person doing it was acting in less than honest ways, and I think he proved himself by having himself named the interim director and saying that he was advised that by these legal firms. Two people he brought forward, one of them wasn't even really a proper legal firm for what we needed. So when the pressure came, I stepped down to set the path forward to doing a real election for the director so that we give time to actually try to get legal counsel and then make sure this distribution didn't happen the way it did. When the last call before the Saturday, you guys did this distribution on a Monday morning for me overnight. That Saturday, I urged and I told, it's a clip, I have it on my page when I told VR Dev he can go fuck himself, was that y'all should not do this until, when the vote passes, wait to do the actual distribution until we sought legal counsel and then we knew that, like, okay, this is good. We've said that. I don't understand where the confusion is now. And a lot of it angers me because it's a lot of revisionism when this shit is all recorded and documented. So I don't want to go down that road again because I'm getting annoyed. But the thing is the director does have a duty of care. And that's why the KYC is at a different level versus the multi-sig signers because
Mm,
they don't have that same level of risk.
absolutely. Yeah. The duty of care regards to the foundation. Exactly. But well, it has also, the constitution clearly states, do what the will is of the DAO. But of course, I give you that. Of course, something illegal, yeah, like a murder, is of course out of question.
I mean, do
That's
you
clear.
think that potentially issuing funds to people in sanctioned jurisdictions
Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly.
unknowingly,
Uh,
that's super
You make
illegal.
it too easy,
That's not,
Nestor. You make it too easy.
I make it too easy.
yeah,
No, I'm not
Yeah.
making it too easy.
yeah,
Uh-uh.
because
Yeah.
the duty of care there
Like,
would be to do AML
sure.
requirements. And I know no one wants to do that because we're crypto, but we do have to deal with the legal responsibilities in the real world. Just because we're a DAO and it's on chain
So
doesn't
what?
mean that we get to skirt the law.
But did anyone say to me, uh, you have to stop it? Didn't hear from anybody, and I
I
was.
said that
Uh,
while I was
Stop,
being
stop, stop.
told that I
I
need to
was
do it,
there
that it
in the
didn't happen.
forums. I was there in the forums talking about it.
Every week I've
Lengthy,
talked about this
lengthy,
on this stage.
lengthy, lengthy. You were the
Every
only
week.
one. You were the only one. No future.
So
You
then,
were the
yes, someone
only
said it, and
one.
I even put it into the terror conversation that we have the forum discussion where I said when we seek a lawyer, we need to ask them two questions: Is the legal wrapper that we have for the DAO good enough to cover us and protect us? Because that's been my main
Yes,
concern
it
since I
is.
found out my name was on the
I
document.
said, yeah.
Second question was: Is the distribution as we currently plan to do it okay? Will we get in any
Yeah.
trouble for money laundering laws? Will the DAO
No,
be at risk? Not the DAO, but the foundation, if we do it
no,
according to the way it's set up? These
no.
things, they're written down in this Discord. It was months ago that these things
Yeah.
were written down and said. So to say that
Yeah.
no one mentioned this is disingenuous.
No, no. Now you are disingenuous. I said nobody told me no, not to do it. That's
You
you.
are a selected director to do this job because you know the constitution and you know it could be an illegal act, and you even said we need a lawyer and so on, and you were informed of the old director that you should do it. The old director said these are the problems, stated it out, shows to you these are problems on the table, you should not do it, and you passed it.
Why are you shouting at me? Why are you shouting at me?
Yeah, because you are the director of this DAO when this happened. I have to tell you, even if this on a business level, because and this is the same when it comes now to finding new multisig owners. And in my point of view, you are lacking a lot of, let's say, the professional background to be a director, because you are not that business guy like myself for 10 to 15 years or others. You see it very
You were not there. You were
yeah,
not here.
but the problem is you take it so easy. You take a nomination for multisig of millions of dollars so easy, and just say, okay, we reduce it to 2 of 3. So
You
so
know,
silly sentences.
shouting will not. I have to. Shouting will not really bring
Yeah,
anything about. You know.
yeah. I just want to clarify that things could be much easier, and no futuristic pointed it out. And it's very important to understand what are the responsibilities of a director of the DAO, because always you said, okay, this I will not decide, this will I will not do. I think is it again this problem that this DAO approved the proposal for a director without giving him any tasks or letting him know the constitution must be lived like this? I mean, it's the same thin air room. We are not knowing, or Nesta is always saying, I don't know if I should do it, who should do it, feel free. And everyone is pointing to each other and said, you can do it, I'm only a director. No, you are like a person, a KYC on the Cayman Island for a foundation, which distributed millions of dollars and is now also making further steps. So I mean, it's very important for yourself to understand your role and what you're doing and what you can and what you should do, and not always say everyone should say it.
Yeah,
Well,
but in fairness, Crazy Crypto, I mean, how else would you have him do it? He's been here every week since he's been director and before that, and he's actively engaging in every discussion that's happening in there, and he's including you in the discussion. So, like the
Yeah.
topic that we started talking about now was
Yeah.
about the signers and the urgency needed around nominating
Yeah.
people, right?
Now
So
we're
he already
talking.
has that thread up, and we have feedback already. But like, if you have any pushback to what he's trying to do, this is the only way a proposal is going to go forward, right? Is like if there is actual feedback. If there
Yeah.
isn't, just like you said, then his responsibility would be to go forward. He already made that information available. Interested people gave the feed, myself and others who have been involved in the role kind of gave him some feedback in our experience. We did so on these calls as well. Like, I don't know what else you would have the guy do, honestly, in this particular situation. Like, if you
Like
have any
clarification is
suggestions,
king.
I
Yeah.
suggest that you put them in there as well, and then they'll be worked into the proposal, man. That's the whole purpose of the call.
Yeah, absolutely. We discussed here this KYC thing, which is important if someone is signer or not. And
Okay,
as
why?
No Futuristic pointed it out, just that we are
It was
repeating
a
that
good
no
showcase.
one was mentioning it in announcement. Hey, 7 days are running to be a nominee for the multisig. It's a very important part of the DAO. So I mean,
Mhm.
you see, there's still the same errors repeated, that the communication and the information of important parts, because like multisig signers of a DAO treasury is on the same level, not on the amount, but on the responsibility. Everyone should be informed, right? I think nobody disagrees, but it's still not
Look,
done. It's hide it in a little thread in a DAO between others when we talk about multisig signers.
look,
This is
it's
the
standing
DAO call.
here.
Like, this is where it happens. I
This,
mean,
Hmm,
yeah,
go on.
we could put an announcement as facilitators if you'd like to see that. I mean, I don't know if we could do it now. We
You
can
can
make an
write it.
announcement.
You can write, yeah, make a general announcement. I will then make a more particular announcement with the 3 bullet points that we have discussed, and I would take the other people who are here, the 9 others, yeah, just take it as an example of, this is exactly it. It is about something, yeah, and it's also, I got now the accusation that I would take it lightly. Um, I think if I would stress out and panic and start to yell and cry and that would be a mistake, I think. So I think I should take it very calmly. That's the only way, like serious business people decide things, and this I will continue to do, and I will listen always to anything, especially if it is in writing, in public writing. Yeah, like you said, Face. Thank you. A counter prop with arguments. I brought even the arguments. I brought the argument. No one
Yeah,
took it up.
but
No,
Nestor,
I'm
honestly,
speaking. I'm speaking. I'm
no.
speaking
Yeah,
crypto.
you're
I'm speaking.
very
No one.
unpolite.
No one put it. No one
Yeah.
interacted with it. No one interacted with it except for No Future. So
Okay, and No Future is nobody or what? So you show also unpolite behavior against him and scream here the
what
whole
you
time. Sorry to say this.
Well,
So don't
yeah,
I'm
you,
gonna,
you will find
because
you will
I'm
find
a
all
facilitator this
everything
week,
something to
and
turn
I've
it
done a poor
around.
job
That's
of it.
very
Let's
nice.
pull it
But
back. Let's pull it back, everyone.
you weren't there,
We're
so
approaching over 3 hours on this meeting. Let's pull it back for a second. So I think what we need to focus on right now, because we're gonna just go in endless circles here, is just the next steps, because we have this issue that we have to deal with immediately, which is the multi-sig signers and the nomination. I
Right.
saw FaZe, he's nominating himself. So if you want to be part of this, you can go into that thread, nominate yourself. I urge you, this is from experience, friends, because I made these mistakes 2 years ago when I got fucked over by PC. Go and ask relevant questions to what you need to know for this position. What level of KYC you're going to need. If you are going to be on a documents with your name and in roles that you don't understand that you might be in. Ask these questions. If you have a price, throw that out there because that will shape the conversation because we need to move fast. Hopefully, by this time next week, we've had enough ongoing discussion. We can discuss it here at this meeting where a prop can be put forward to start the election. Part of this prop, which it's going to make this more difficult, but establishing what the multi-sig looks like now. Is it going to be 3 of 5, 4 of 7, whatever that is? And then, the parameters for the new multi-sig signers in terms of their KYC, in terms of their compensation and the roles, the duties of the role that they will have. Once that's done, assuming it passes quorum, then we move to our core prop, which will end ideally at the end of this month. There seems to be
Yes.
some grace period that's going to be allowed here by some of the multi-sig signers. So, time is of the essence, but we have some time on our side. These are the most actionable things that we can do right now.
Right on. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I don't know if there's any other conversations that we want to have outside of that. I think this was the most important one, honestly.
Yes.
We can go to the forums because this has been almost over 3 hours, 3 hours and 7 minutes. I think this is the second longest one we've ever. We did one that was like 5 hours, but that was year one of the DAO. I have the recording on my YouTube.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
if you
yeah,
have questions or comments, friends, go ahead.
No, all good. Thanks for Futuristic also to be very clear, and I love it if things are just clear, discussed, and structured, and yeah, you work on bullet points and you work on things. And I also only want to ask, okay, what's the difference between KYC and not, and why we are having a difference? Because when it comes to money, everyone should be known. This is just my statement. You had your own experiences being published in a Cayman Island registry without knowing. So sorry to say this, and everyone else in the future should be prevent to be like this, and everyone should know. So this is why this must be clarified. And Nestor, one word to you. You said I should write something. When we had our call, you also said, hey, thanks for your proposal. You made your thread. I will definitely come back and take my time and write something serious. To your points, you never did this. So don't blame on me if you cannot even do it. You never answered in my thread in core 2. You never did. You don't take care. You don't say yourself you're a business guy.
You're
You
lying.
never did
You're
what you
lying.
said. You
You're
are
lying.
lying.
You're lying. You're lying. I did. I
Okay,
did.
guys.
Bye bye.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
Goodbye.
don't lie.
Okay. Yeah. Nestor, shut up. Okay. Ciao.
Okay, everybody, we need to be civil and continue to be civil. Jump in the various conversations that are going on in the forum discussion topics. If you have question or comments, you can probably find more information there. Yeah, I'm gonna shut down the space. Phase. It's just me and you. How you feeling?
Yeah, man. I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I guess everyone should just take a deep breath, but the German homies get so it's all good. It's all good.
I want to drop
So-
Shiza at some point, but I didn't know if that's like racist or not. That's a bad
Yeah.
joke. Anyway,
No, they're
friend-
passionate for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
It's all good, man.
I get it. I'm Puerto Rican.
Hey.
Thank you, everybody. We'll do the
Yeah.
thing
Thanks,
as we
everybody.
do it. See you here next week.
Peace.